night and the Gemini crew.
Tonight.
Everything's alright when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Giving the world light when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Sometimes things are just absurd, so let's just talk about the world, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the world. Give this page another curl, 'cause you're here with us tonight.
I bid you all good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. It is I, welcome Mike Martins, your humble servant, and welcome to Mike in the Night, bringing you the whole talk, just updates on this world. I wouldn't say we're news. Heck, I wouldn't say, what are we? We're talk. We like to talk. We like to come together. So I say, sit back, relax, extend that lazy boy chair, dim the lights, maybe crack open a window and let in a nice breeze. Maybe some sparkling water. Whether you're listening to us in your camper in the woods, your cabin in the woods, your camper in the woods, your condo apartment, dim down the lights, because it's time for Mike in the Night. All right, guys, how is everybody doing out there and in the social media world? I got my Wanderers jacket on. It came in the mail. Very excited. And I'm just going to wear the crap out of it till I get bored of it. There's a lot happening, guys. There's just a lot happening. There's just so many areas to look at and turn to. And I got quite a few articles. Open lines. We'll have open lines and discuss what's going on and what's on your mind or what's been on your mind. Whether it's finance, debt, gold, silver, what's happening in France, what's happening in Australia, what's happening in New Zealand, what's happening in the UK, anywhere in the Commonwealth. So let's roll over to the comments, the live comments, guys. Don't forget to join the live comments if you want to join. I get a lot of people watching the replay of the show and saying that, how come I can't comment, man? What the hell? Do I have to pay to comment? I'm like, no, sweet pea. You're watching a replay. That's what's happened here. So, okay. Layla in the comments, how are you? I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for calling in last week and rolling into the comments. Solid extra here too. Johnny Dingo got it. We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun. Hi Mike, what's up? Mike Jordan Retro in the house. Minus 20 degrees says solid extra. Jeff Salcero is saying Mike in the Night. Red Pill Gary Hale. Everyone, best place to be on Saturday night. TJH in the house saying, Mike, switched gangs. He was with the Baldies. Now he's with the Wanderers. That's right. You know, those Baldies are a bunch of jive turkeys anyways. Woo! That's from the movie. That's a line. No, they're just a bunch of ears without pigs or pigs without ears. I can't remember that one. Don't mess with Mike. He will do the Wanderer whistle and have an entire gang after you. That's right. Anyways, Hollywood Steve-O in the house. All right, people are starting to roll in to Mike in the Night. This is your show, guys. This is you guys kind of dictate the pace where it goes. You know what I'm saying? Red Pill Gary said, looks like he just came from Miami, Mike. No, it'd be more of the Bronx. It'd be more of, like, Queens. Miami, this would be, I think, too warm in Miami. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me, you know? All right, guys, it is Mike in the Night. All right, guys, let's do a quick channel plug here before we get into the whole meat and potatoes on what's actually happening here. Let's start with the channel plug. Guys, don't forget to join and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. There's always content coming up every couple hours. Just what's on my mind, and you comment below what's on your mind. I did a whole video today on subscriber comments, and we're just reading over subscriber comments here and what they think of the last video about being in debt. And I got some really good feedback here from people, and people discussing what they think or what they feel. And, yeah, people can't keep up with their mounting debt. Life behind bars seems better than freedom. That's a really controversial one with people discussing. I got an email from someone that knows, that's been to prison, and basically said that he met a lot of young men in there and saying they're better off there with 3 squares and a place to sleep. Yeah, that's pretty scary when you start getting to those desperate times or desperate moments, right? We got one of our, I guess, stalkers or one of our trolls in the cancer bald head in the comment section. So, and then we got Dina Y. Mike, my colleague had to do an abortion because of financial stress. Yeah, that's pretty hard, man. That's pretty hard, man. That's pretty hard when you get to that point where a woman can't naturally reproduce like she should, just like everybody. Like, we're here to, you know, start families, reproduce, enjoy, be part of society, and share and pass on. I'm not going to be here for long. People are saying, oh, you know, over this, there's too many people living. There's too many people living in I don't know how to say that. People, too much population is what I'm trying to say. Sorry. And too much population. I'm gonna be dead in like 20 years. I'll be dead. I'm already 41. What do you think? I'm gonna get younger? Anyways, and world economy would collapse if the city of London. So I got that article actually open. We're going to take a look at that. Lots on the show, guys. Don't forget, I've been selling. People have been buying stuff. Tights, whether it's t-shirts from Mike in the Night, your place to shop. And if you're going to buy a nice t-shirt, buy a nice t-shirt anyways, a good quality one. This stuff is good quality. People are like, it's so expensive. And then when they get it, they message me like, Mike, I haven't seen a shirt like this since I was, you know, shopping at Kmart 30 years ago when everything was made locally. Thanks for my Patreon supporters. I'm at 22. Hopefully I could get to 25 by Christmas time. And this is the Mike Martin's channel, guys. Go to it. There's 2 fake ones on there. One of them was taken down. 117,000 people follow this, so you will know which one is the right one, right? You will know which one is the right one when you see the one with 9 subscribers or 17,000. Don't go to the fake one because they start sending you messages. And thanks for tipping me on PayPal. Tip jar is always available. It is Mike in the Night. It is Mike in the Night. What's everyone up to? Globetrotter Mike is saying, did you hear this guy, Tara? This guy just said we look like a bunch of pricks without ears. No, it's a bunch of ears without pigs. Lower Earl Scratcher, so good to see you in the comments. Did you see Walking Journey Walmart robot vacuum? Yeah, I saw that. I saw that at work. I put it on the TV at work. At my shop, my shop, I just put on what I want to watch, and then I put on Walking Journey following this robot cleaner, just cleaning the Walmarts, because I think one of those machines are about $32,000, and I think if it works after a year and a half, a year, maybe a year and change, will start paying itself back. I don't know. Just kind of throwing that out there. Still have to pay it off, right? Okay, comments have calmed down. Supreme Canon in the house, sponsor of the channel, Supreme Canon, and a caller in the channel. And thank you so much. And guys, we're at war with trolls. There's a troll that's been harassing us, calling other people on the channel. Like, these guys need to just walk away, man. Just do something else. Like, it's not, whatever they're doing isn't working. They're trying to sabotage the show, make it worse, or trying to, it's not. It's just going to get better. You know, if they keep doing this, I'm going to get a whole entire studio with helicopters and lighting and everything, and keep making it even bigger. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Globetrotter Mike saying same thing with self-checkout. Someone saying no Supreme Canon coffee mug. His username is too violent. I can't. I tried every way to make that mug. I even sent him a screenshot of, look, I keep getting this. I tried 40 different times. And I have to try maybe doing, like, maybe instead of a rail, there's some really nice, sweet photos of those kind of rail weapons they used to use, those rail guns they used to use during World War II. And there's some nice, like, hand-drawn, beautiful sketches of them. I try to use that. I try to use all different stuff. And it's just, you know. Yeah, Cannon's out of bounds, yeah. But the Raven mug is great. It's got a pile of skulls with the Raven up top. I know. Don't worry, Supreme. We'll figure something out. Unless I put Supreme Canon as one word, would they catch it? If it's just one word. I tried doing it in Japanese. Like, the characters in Japanese, they caught it. I tried doing it in Latin. They caught it. I tried doing it in Portuguese. They caught it. So, I don't know why. I don't know how. But, yeah. Lowell or Scratch is saying Bitcoin is going up to 9 large again, Mike. Yeah, because people are finding ways out of the fiat markets. 631art.com is saying, you are doing good work, Mike, fighting the good fight. No, you are fighting the good fight. Tig Nim, Supreme Canon, Layla. We're all here because we just want to talk. Maybe create awareness. Maybe wake somebody up. I don't know. But we're here. And it means something. Yeah, Bitcoin's going up. Yeah, I've been watching the Bitcoin. A lot of my junior miners have been rallying nicely. I mean, here and there, watching it, keeping an eye on it. You know what I'm saying? All right. Let's get into. We got into a bunch of plugs. Let's get into a couple of arties here. We got some stories here. 944 trillion reasons why the Fed is quietly bailing out hedge funds. So there's a lot of hedge fund problems going on, and if you thought the pension fund or the pension is getting I guess worked on, try the hedge funds. Everything that involves some sort of a buildup of currency or capital is being manipulated and pruned. Okay. Diana Y saying, what do you reckon, Mike? Do you think they're gonna let the market drop? They're gonna what they're gonna do is, sorry, we're getting some spam here. In the comments. Sorry. What they're going to do is they're going to just keep penting it up and just making crap up as they go along. Right now, they're just kind of drawing from the top, so to speak. So let's say, I'll give you an example. Let's say we're playing a card game. where you got to draw on your turn. You draw a card to add to your cards to help you win this war, right? You have no cards in hand now, so to speak. So you're in this game, this card game with somebody. You got no cards in hand. All you're doing is just drawing from the top and seeing what you get, and hopefully it helps your situation. That's what's happening right now in retrospect. So that's it right there. If banks are not benefiting, who is? Leverage funds with huge interest rate derivative positions. And who is on the hook if they blow up? The big banks who are on the other side of the trade, as they would be forced to recapitalize the clearinghouses. No! It's the federal governments are going to go in to bail them out with our tax money. Oh, yeah. Trump blasts Barzan unlawful coup attempt after House files farmer's worst nightmare, says legal brief. Why in Western media is not questioning the mysterious death of Australian youth activist Wilson Gavin? 2 petitions have been started in Brisbane's council. Oh, it's some... Okay, so somebody was petitioning against some drag queen story Our Time, and then they got... Wow. So somebody killed... Okay. All right, so I'm going to say he was taken out, I guess, so to speak. 3 years ago, I was a failure. 3 years ago, I was... Is this... Oh, this is a stupid advertising. False flag. FMR. CIA officers suggest U.S. hacked Ukrainian plane transponder to provoke Iranian shoot. Really? I don't think so. How the U.S. wages war to prop up... Who's saying this? Former CIA officer. Yeah, that's not going to fly. How the U.S. wages war to prop up the dollar. Guys, the U.S. has been at war. If the U.S. has been, let's say, 1777, 1877, 1977, 223 years, they've been at war for like 97% of the time they've been at war. So of that time that America's been free, it's always been at war, pretty much, except I think that 2 or 3 years of peace. F-18 fighters to drop live bombs on Florida swamp this weekend. Well, that's awesome. Regrets, forget the past. Overhyped Russian hypersonics, if you remember that. The quiet crisis. Deaths caused by alcoholism have more than doubled. Opioid overdoses may have leveled off last year after soaring over the last 10, but Americans are still dying in droves from another far more popular substance, alcohol. So guys, oh yeah, population, this and that. No, there's a lot of people dying. When I found out the numbers of how many people died from opioids and how many people died from all this crap, it's pretty sad. All right. Vandals return to evacuated Seashelt home built on sinkholes, leaving owners heartbroken. So, Sunshine Coast, that meant paradise, continues to be a nightmare for former residents being barred from renting. The latest heartbreak is the return of vandals to homes in Sea-Watch development whose owners can only watch from afar. It's heartbreaking. Chris Monneran said from Burnaby home, where he and his wife have been staying since the evacuation last year. It's our life savings and it's being destroyed, and people are allowed to do this. So guys, I did a video about people. Wow, look at this. People just drawing crap on the windows and smashing their stuff. So houses are in I guess, hit hard. Homeowners are forced to pack up what they could, leave at once valuable properties which remain behind barricades this day. So the homes were built on sinkholes, I guess. And you know what the funny part is? Unstable ground. Yeah, you know what the funny part is? You know what the insurance company does? The insurance company goes skiing or gets a haircut. When the insurance oh yeah, like we love to insure your property. We want to be the ones to insure you. They insure you. Something happens. It's built on sinkholes. And guess what? Guess what? They disappear the second something happens. That's how insurance works. And that's the scary part. You pay your life savings. Look at this guy's garage. This guy spent money on this place. This guy didn't Mickey Mouse this house. Look at these double pane partitioned windows. This ain't a joke. These people this is not a joke. And now people are prohibited to going into their own areas because the builder built on sinkholes. Who do you blame? You know in the end who they blame? You know who they're gonna blame? I tell you who they're gonna blame the owners for buying it. They're not gonna blame the real estate agent for telling them what. They're not gonna blame the insurance companies for not paying them the money. They're not gonna blame the land for sinking. They're gonna blame the owners for existing. It's their fault they've existed. Because if they didn't exist, this wouldn't be happening. Or their properties wouldn't be sinking. So this is the funny thing is they always blame everything but the real problem. Permanent poverty until I die. Former foster kids left behind by BC's tuition waiver program. Tuition waivers are playing a pivotal role helping youth age out of care. But what about those from decades past? So a lot of them are not getting into any proper programs and getting tattoos and stuff, and just basically, I don't know, just throwing that out there. Good Samaritan pays for part of rent for BC woman facing eviction in can collecting. The 76-year-old supplements her pension by collecting cans and receiving public donations. That's how bad it's gotten. The 76-year-old should be at home watching Matlock and those old people shows that nobody watches. That's what she should be doing at the comfort of her house. Not outside in the snow collecting cans to subsidize for her mortgage. Ontario man attacks kindergartens with a curtain rod and leaves child in serious condition. He was wearing a helmet on his head. Witness is saying a man is facing... Okay, let's see if they tell us who this person is. Okay, they don't even give us a picture of the guy or his name. CTV News Toronto. Students went back into school. A 5-year-old suffered serious injuries being struck by a rod, police say. The suspect is a 30-year-old man who police believe has a cognitive impairment. The man was arrested and charged with aggravated assault with a weapon and weapons dangerous and common nuisance endangering life. Okay, why don't they show us who the guy is so we know what the guy looks like so we could kind of maybe distance ourselves and our kids from it? Yeah. Well, why don't they tell us? Why don't they show us at least a picture of what the guy looks like? No, we can't do that because they'll be doing our goddamn jobs, right? Go to hell. Why would you put the story out if we don't even know who it is? So you're telling us, ooh, there's a guy with a curtain rod who's going to smash your kid and we're not going to show you who he is. We're not even going to tell you his name. This one here, the macaroni guy from Emmanuel Macaroni, rushed out of the Paris theater after protesters tried to confront him. Oh my God, God forbid. God forbid people try to confront the president of his country to ask him what the heck is going on. But asking him to resign, he's not going to resign. What are you out of your... Look at that big megaphone. What are you out of your tree? He was put into power for a reason. They're not going to resign. You think they're going to do all that work to get him into power and fix elections or whatever they have to do to get that guy in? And then once he gets in, you think you're going to let him resign? I don't think they'll let him resign. Not these people that are asking him to resign. The others. David Xavier saying Macron the arrogant coward. Yep. Okay, I read this on the channel. This is kind of an important one, guys. Pay attention. World economy would collapse if the city of London stopped laundering money, says Hong Kong Shanghai Bank of Commerce. So, guys, HSBC. This money laundering thing is completely crippled and ravaged the entire Commonwealth. The US is the last one to start seeing it now. I got people messaging me from Idaho, people messaging me from Cheyenne in the States, telling me, Mike, it's happening here now. There's people bidding on homes now. It's happening in Miami. It's going to happen in every English-speaking country. Until the entire Commonwealth is engulfed into this dystopia of divide. And they're going to keep turning everybody against each other. And they're going to blame everything but the criminals. Yeah. Keel is saying, it's terrible. Everyone I know in Canada is suffering. Every even upper middle class people. Oh yeah. Then we got Scott Morrison, guys, the Prime Minister of Australia, is in the chat. He's saying, thank you for speaking about this. We got Tignim, money makes the world go round. Money's become so devalued that it's already putting the brakes on everything right now, and they got to keep it going, even though they don't want it to crash. Okay, who is this Harry and Meghan? Is this like royal family or these people? Okay, I don't know these people. I've been getting messages about these people. Mike, you should talk about these people. Look. I read an article. I took my time and I read an article someone sent me. All it is two more unskilled immigrants coming to Canada. That's all it is. That's all I'm seeing there. No one's, well, so what? I don't care. Canada's taking in two more unskilled immigrants. So what? This paramedic commutes 6 hours to work in Vancouver because he can't afford to live there. So now pay attention if you're in Vancouver. If you're still living in China. Oh, sorry, I meant Vancouver. If you're living there, I mean, if you don't live there and you commute to go there, you need to start petitioning with the city council, federal and provincial governments to build a high-rise for people that work these important infrastructure. Remember when I kept telling you guys 5 years ago on trends in the housing market, how are they going to support the infrastructure when the working poor can't afford to live in their own cities? Who's going to pick up the garbage essay? That's the problem right there. Who's going to support the infrastructure when Buddy here has to commute 6 hours to come to work? Yeah. Someone says, it's a royal family. No, it's going to cost them roughly $1 million a day for security for them. The taxpayers have to pay. Yeah, Scott Morrison has it right. International bidding wars on every Commonwealth property. That's correct. We're going to lose this because we don't have the dirty money. We don't have the dirty money to play the game. Why? Because we did everything by the book growing up. We did everything by the book when we went to business school, when we understood rights and wrongs, when we understood basic manners growing up and mannerisms around others and respecting your elders. We learned that here. For some reason, everyone else doesn't even know basic mannerisms. So Buddy has to, at the end of his 12-hour shifts as a paramedic, Mark goes home to a spare bedroom at a relative's house in Richmond, BC. And he's 46. He works in Vancouver, but lives in Parksville, BC, on Vancouver Island, and can travel up to 6 hours each way, depending on traffic and ferry conditions. 6 hours. So if you lived in Windsor, Ontario, Let's get Google Maps. I say you could go past Cincinnati. I say you make it halfway to Atlanta. Hold on. Google Maps. I say you make it halfway from Windsor, Ontario. Watch this. Or more. Windsor, Ontario to Cincinnati. And then we're driving, right? 4 hours. That's to Cincinnati. So this guy does 6 hours. You're halfway or almost. Look at Atlanta right there. Okay, there's Atlanta right there. So let's say Lexington, okay? Okay. That with traffic is 6 hours. So you could drive a quarter through all of the United States. You're a quarter ways to, or you're almost halfway to Florida, actually. Well, you're almost halfway. Knoxville, I say Knoxville is halfway. Well, a little bit before. Like before you reach the Kentucky border here, Nashville border from Kentucky, I think, a Tennessee border, I'm sorry. I think you're halfway to Florida. So this is how much this guy drives just to get to work. Oh, that's 5 hours and 21 minutes. Could we make it to Knoxville? Guys, do you think this guy could make it to Knoxville if he lived in Windsor, Ontario? So basically, this guy, technically speaking, could get a job. He could live in Windsor, Ontario, and he could work basically in Lexington, Kentucky. And he's going to save half an hour driving with all this construction over here. Apparently, there's all pile of construction here. But still, he's still, I think on a good day, he can make it to London, Lexington. Williamsburg is too far. Maybe Richmond, Lexington. Oh, this is another place. Okay, well, never mind. That's flying 1 hour. No. But no, I wanted to show you. This guy is basically driving this much. And because the traffic is so horrific, you want to see where he's going from in Canada and going to? He's going from here, look, to here. This little piece right here. That's all the guy's doing is just going from here to here. Here to here. Here to here. That's all he's doing. That's all he's doing. When, realistically, in the States, you could drive all of this. From here. So, what do we say? Maybe he can make Nashville. Yeah, it's Knoxville. Let's see if he can make it to Knoxville. Let's see if he can make it to Knoxville in 6 hours. No, it's 7 hours. 7 hours to Knoxville. But that's halfway to, well, that's more than halfway to Florida. So that's how much this guy here, let's go back to the article if you're just tuning in. This guy drives 6 hours each way to go to work. Wow. To drive an ambulance. Can't afford Vancouver. So in Australia, they just build towers. They build towers dedicated only to city workers and doctors and all the like city lawyers, city even politicians that can't afford to live. If you're a politician, you can't afford to live in your own city. You're robbing the wrong way. Okay. Yeah, when does he sleep? That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, we got to put the question out there tonight. Would you rather... Let's move this highway thing back a little bit further back. Here we go, 6 hours. If you lived in Windsor, would you rather work in South Knoxville, just on the Tennessee border here? Would you prefer to live here in Lexington, just out of Lexington? Would you prefer to work here? Or this little trip here, like literally this little trip right here? Or would you rather do this? Go to America, work, GGG, then come home, yeah. Yeah, Supreme Canon saying, no kidding. Hope I never need a paramedic who only sleeps 2 hours a day. Yeah. Yeah, and gas is cheaper in the U.S. Yeah. Here, let's see what this place looks like. Let's go over here. Let's see what this place looks like. Pretend you're working here. I'd rather go here to work every day, honestly. Yeah, look, there's an office here. Yeah, work in that office. Yeah, man, look at this green, sunny, south. I'm in the south. Look at this. Yeah. I work here as a janitor. Look, see, I'm working in this building here. Yeah. If I need to get my car fixed, I don't have to fix it in Canada and pay $3 million. I just get it fixed in the States. Yeah, Larry's Garage here will do it for $40. So, kind of trying to be funny, but I'm not a funny guy. So, but I kind of wanted to throw that out there. So, anyways, guy's driving 6 hours to go to work. Anyways, all right. Whew. Groceries are about to get much more expensive at Kohl's and Woolworths, and bushfires are to blame. Again, they're gonna find a reason to blame for the high cost of food, especially in Australia. Well, the Commonwealth people are gonna be. They're not housebroke anymore because they're living out of their cars or their vans. They're not housebroke. You could throw that right out the window. They're going to be food broke. Be broke because they have to buy food. And we're going to have to, maybe next week, we're going to see if we can get a minimalist on the show. Guys, if you are a minimalist, come on the show. I would love to speak to you and ask you, how do you do it as a minimalist? Police working on premise that the arsonist started bushfires in Australia. 200 people arrested so far. 85% of the fires blamed on humans. All right, so where are the pictures of these guys? Oh, we're not seeing the pictures of these guys. Damn it. Don't tell us a story if you're not going to tell us who's doing it. Those claims about nearly 200 arrested for arson in Australia bushfires are wrong. Oh, okay. The 180 figure. The 180 figure is also wrong. I don't see pictures here. I don't believe in his crap. All right, let's move on. Sydney first-time homebuyers borrows flock to first week of first home loan deposits. Wow. So the first week payment or with the payment they have to make, they have to borrow that? So they can't even, they can't make the first payment? Is that what they're trying to say? You gotta be kidding me. Is it really getting that bad out there? Holy smokes. Layla's a minimalist. And we got so many people I know live in trailers. The demand for them is so high. Trailers have a huge... let's check here. People moving. Let's check a U-Haul. You type in mass exodus U-Haul. U-Haul keeps track from here we go. There's one from last year. Texas, Florida, rank 1 and 2, the third year in a row. And Illinois tops out migration states. So where are people moving to? Texas, Florida, South Carolina, Utah, Idaho, Maryland, Vermont, Tennessee, New Hampshire, Maine, Delaware, Missouri. So people are moving to these states. Is anyone moving to California? Where's California? Oh, it's second last. Okay. So Illinois is last. Okay. Michigan is second last. California is third last. Then Louisiana, Massachusetts. Massachusetts is expensive. All these places except Louisiana is expensive. Michigan isn't, but people are mass exiting those areas and they're moving to Texas, Florida, South Carolina, Utah. Okay, I like berries because berries taste better and grapes are sour. Yeah, Illinois is going to go for the state's going to file for bankruptcy. It's just they got 27 layers of government. No one knows who's tricking and treating there. It's yeah, that's not gonna fly. That's not gonna fly. Texas is an oil boom, says Globetrotter Mike. We got who do we got here in the comments here? Oh, Walking Journey. Let me see if I can get him on the show real quick to ask him how he feels about all these people moving to Texas. Let's see if he picks up. He's probably in jail. Yeah, he's probably busy. He's probably at work. All right, let's see what we can get here. Let's see if I can get somebody on the show that hasn't been on the show in a while. We got lots of people here. Oh, somebody. Just messaging someone back here. All right, who are we doing here? Okay. All right, I'm just going through the list, guys. I got over 1,000 Skype people on the list here. And wow. All right, let's call. I don't know if Layla's busy, but I want to call her. She said she was a minimalist in the comments. I don't know if someone's sleeping beside her or she's in an area where she can't speak. Or we might have to give her questions for only yes or no, so the people in the room don't know what we're talking about. I've been in a situation like that where I'm like, all right, listen, I'm only gonna give you questions for yes or no, okay? Because I know you're with somebody. Are you? And then you just give them questions for yes or no, which is kind of smart, you know. As minimalism. Let's look it up. Minimalism. Minimalists is owning fewer possessions. Like I mentioned before, minimalism is intentionally living with only the things I really need, those items that support my purpose. I am removing the distraction of excess possessions so I can focus more and more on those things that matter most. Huh. 8 essential... okay, it's unintentional. Freedom from possessions. Remember what Tyler Durden said, eh? Tyler Durden said, the things you own end up owning you, and that's very true. All right, let's call Layla. She says she's a minimalist. Okay. Skype is turned off. Who else we got here? The show we go off. We just go off whatever in this show. We just go with the flow with Mike in the Night. Should call the Raven. Let me see if he's... I don't think he's here. He messaged me the other day. No, Raven's not available either. There's nobody around. So what's someone saying? Looking for my Skype, Layla. I mean, if they can't tolerate it, most people seem to need to buy stuff constantly. The dopamine slaves. Yeah, dopamine. Mike Makasmik. Well, we're trying to get someone on to discuss minimalism. They're trying to find their Skype on their phone. And unfortunately, it's, yeah. No big deal. No big deal. And who else we got here? We got Supreme Cannon on the sidelines. We got... So we got, Oh, it's Jordan Retro. I think he just messaged me. He said he could give us a 2-minute update. Jordan, you there?
Hi,
How are you, my brother?
I'm fine. What about you?
I'm doing good. All right, buddy. What are you gonna update us on? What can you tell us?
I want to give an update about my interview for my new job I was talking last week.
Oh yeah, you're gonna make more money, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna go work for the city now. I did an interview with three people from the city this week,
Right.
and it went very well. And next week, Friday, I'm gonna do the physical test, and after that, I'm gonna start the new work.
Well, congratulations. I'm happy for you, buddy. It's good. It's good. Make a bit more money. Do you know what tax bracket you're gonna be thrown into?
I don't know, but I think it's gonna be about the same. I'm gonna make maybe 10K more in a year.
Okay. All right. Just be careful what tax bracket you're thrown into, because I know some people that got a raise and then the tax bracket changed. They end up making an extra $600 a year after all the taxes were paid.
Yes, yes, I know what you're talking about,
Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah. So you
But
just
the
be
the good thing is the schedule is 4 days a week instead of 5 days a week. So I'm gonna do a little more hour per day,
Mhm.
but at the end I'm gonna have 1 day less a week.
Okay. Okay. Well, you're gonna
Yeah,
work 1 day less a week and make more money?
yeah, yeah,
Okay. Okay. That's now we're talking business.
yes.
Yeah. Now
I
we're
I
talking
can't wait
business.
to get started.
Okay. Now you're doing good. Let me ask you: are you a minimalist?
No, I'm not.
So you got a lot of stuff.
Yes.
What do you have most of?
Um, it's weird to say, but shoes.
Lots of shoes, eh?
Yeah, you see, my name is Jordan Retro because I collect a lot of Jordan.
Oh, Jordan shoe, like Jordan sneakers.
Yes.
Yeah, that guy used to play basketball for the Chicago Bulls. He was really good.
Yes.
I'm joking. I'm being
Um,
sarcastic. I know who Michael. Yeah, it was him, and he used to play against Larry Bird. Larry Bird was
yeah,
really good too.
I like Larry Bird a lot too.
He was one of the best 3-point shooters.
Yes, and he was a great trash talker.
hmm He was the best for that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, well, congratulations on the new job. I'm happy for you.
Yes.
And you are not a minimalist. And okay, let me ask you: did you watch from the beginning of the show?
Yes, I was
Okay.
watching.
Okay, now let me ask you this. Would you rather work in Vancouver and travel 6 hours to go to work? Or would you rather be in Windsor and drive to like Kentucky to go to work?
Yes, I would go to Kentucky, but never come back.
But you know what I'm trying to say, right?
Yes,
This
yes,
guy's driving little distance, but because of the traffic in Vancouver, there's no highways, there's no infrastructure, the ferries are always backed up. This guy spends 6 hours to get to work and 6 hours to get home. And then
yes,
it's like, hold on a second. I would rather live in Windsor and drive to Kentucky every day. At least you get a nice drive, and it's the same distance he's driving.
hmm
Yeah, well, it's technically less. You're driving more to Kentucky because there's less traffic, but
yes.
you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, and the road in the USA are way better quality. The
Yes.
road in Canada is all bumpy and pothole, and yes, I would prefer go to the States, but I won't come back 'cause 6 hours a day is way too much.
Uh huh.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. 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 I get you. I get you. I get you. All
Maybe
right.
you can find a local work and do less money because only for the expenses for the gas, it's gonna be really expensive.
It is. It's good.
Driving 6 hour every day.
Yeah, that guy. That guy. That well, but he's sleeping on. Well, not sleeping, but he's sitting on the ferry for 3 hours.
Okay,
So he's sleeping on. He's on a boat with like loud tourists.
okay. He's sleeping on his way.
I don't
Oh,
think so. I don't know, man. Like you're on a ferry. I don't know how. Can you sleep on a ferry?
maybe 1 hour max.
Okay, 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 okay. All right, all right. Maybe you're right, but I don't know. I'd rather go to Kentucky at work.
Yes, same
Yeah.
for me. Same for me.
All right. Okay, Mr. Retro. Thanks for the update, and we'll keep you keep us updated on what's going on, eh?
Yes, thank you, Mike. God
Yeah.
bless.
Thank you. God bless you. So that is Jordan Retro from our channel in the comments, and yeah, kind of nice to hear from him. And we got, who else we got going on here in the comments? I think Layla created another Skype account. Guys, keep just remember where your Skype is, because I don't know who's calling or who, because there's a lot of trolls out there making fake accounts, and these guys are a bunch of losers. You know what I'm saying?
Hello?
Layla?
Hi, can you hear me, Mike?
Yeah, I could hear you perfectly. Just lower the volume on the computer a bit.
I turned it off right now.
Perfect.
Is there still an echo?
No, there's no feedback. All right. Okay, you said you're a minimalist. So let's look up. A minimalist is a person who lives with very little. So we just had Jordan Retro on the phone, and he says he's not a minimalist because he likes to buy sneakers.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've been a minimalist. So where do I start with this? Decluttering has been a long thing that I've been doing. Mike, can you hear me? Can you speak into my... Okay, perfect.
I hear perfect.
It's something that I've been doing a very long time, and it started way back when I was in university. And then when my father passed away, we decluttered as a family. So going through everything as a family with my mom, unpacking my dad's stuff, and it was a major experience. It was a major change for all of us. And I'm the one who went through this more than my sisters. I just have sisters. And so from there, your mindset changes and your life sort of changes. And when I moved here to Canada, I did another round of huge decluttering because I couldn't get my head around the costs of things. So one thing that really stuck in my mind was, or that I remember really well, and that was, let's say, I think 4 years ago now, was the cost of ironing shirts or getting shirts ironed. So if I was going to get my shirts pressed, it costs so much money. And I was really surprised to discover that it costs more for women's shirts than it does for men's shirts. Like I couldn't understand why. As far as I know, men's shirts are actually a lot more, they're more sophisticated, the sleeves and the collar and things like that. They can be a lot more intricate in their workmanship. So I ended up getting rid of all of my shirts, and I completely changed how I dress, even for work, because I stopped wearing shirts to work because I figured, I just got here. I was on a $900 salary as an intern.
Okay.
When I first got here. So it was impossible, to maintain things like that. So I had to change everything. So I went through another big round when I first got to Canada. And more recently, I started to get rid of furniture. So I actually live and work and I sleep on the floor. So I have next to no furniture, and it keeps my life really, really simple. It's very easy to clean, and it just keeps an open space, So, yeah, I can answer probably any question about decluttering and minimalism because I've probably done most of it.
Do you at least have an air mattress?
No, I don't use an air mattress. I actually sleep on a Japanese shikibuton. So it's actually a handmade, it's a beautiful thing. Actually, you should go on YouTube and see how they make it. It's a crafted thing. So it's actually very thin. Like, I don't think most people who sleep on normal beds can handle that. I mean, they would need a long learning curve. But I've always liked hard mattresses. So for me, the transition wasn't too bad. And so it's about 2 to 4 inches thick. I'm
looking at one right now.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing how they make it. It's traditional Japanese. On videos, you might, these are not. If you went on videos, you might find.
Is it made out of wood or is it solid?
No, it's just a mattress. I think Japanese people might put a tatami under it. A tatami is.
I see it.
Yeah. So these guys, yeah. So that's more of a mattress. It's more like the flat thing without the things in the middle. That's more of a, yeah,
Without
that
the
could pass
buttons.
for one. That's a thicker one. Yeah, that sounds like a thicker one. Mine is really thin. It's just made of cotton, actually, layers of cotton. So
This what this one's is 100% cotton, organic cotton.
yeah, yeah. Well, it can be organic or maybe not, but mine is 100% cotton, and I don't put anything under it. I just put it on the floor, and I cover it with a thick cover as like the bed sheet, and that's it.
Wow.
So
Do you have
yeah.
like a cardboard box as a side table where you put your alarm clock or?
No, it's just on the floor. You don't need it. It's just on the floor. So that's a lot for most people. Like I know when people are minimalist, they don't go that far.
Interesting. Okay. Where do you put you have, I guess you put your stuff in the closet, but do you have like armoires or like places to put your, like,
Yes, so my apartment comes with a small walk-in, which is very convenient, and I do have drawers for like the foldable stuff. And I just, yeah, a few pairs of shoes, just keeping them on the floor is fine. Yeah, I have very few clothes. I have very few clothes. I have like six pants, six trousers between trousers and jeans, and about 10 t-shirts. And a few jumpers. I don't think people say jumper in Canada. I think that's British. And just a few dresses. And then I mix and match for work and for not work. Do you have a capsule wardrobe? Yeah, Tignim, you can sort of think of it as a capsule wardrobe. And because I'm probably going to move by the end of next month, and I have a big trip. I'm leaving my apartment. I'm actually going to go through another bunch of clothes that I've kept just clothes that I like, but I never wore them. So you can think of it as a capsule wardrobe. Yeah. So I wear three colors like black, white, and navy.
Okay, I see what a capsule wardrobe does. It lets you to interchange different clothing and make it look like you got a million different things going, eh?
Well, maybe not a million, but yeah, the idea is to have a few basics that you can mix and match with, between tops and bottoms and things like that.
Excellent. Okay, and you said you're going on a trip. Where are you going?
I'm going to Syria and Lebanon, Mike. It's a big deal for us. My mom is leaving Canada. My mom is a retired older woman. She came here a few years ago, but because of the complications right now, we have to go figure a few things out. So it's actually a bit scary, but we have to do this.
Well, if you can, if you want to do some talking videos, you don't have to show yourself. If you want to do some talking videos for the channel, I'll be happy to upload them.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Mike, because I'm working on a business.
Oh,
and
okay.
I just want to keep these different parts of my life separate. You know what I mean?
That's
Like
fine. That's
if
fine.
we go on here, we talk politics and we talk heavy things sometimes.
Yeah.
And yeah. But all other ideas, I'm happy to, provide you with all sorts of materials that could inform your channel. That's very easy.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Because some people usually they do like just talking videos where you don't see the person, or they're filming a street. Oh, this is the street I grew up on, and look at it now today, and blah blah blah. Someone sent me a video from Vancouver showing me.
Like you're saying, Syria and Lebanon. Yeah, I think Lebanon I'd be able to film easily. Syria is a very high surveillance environment, so I would get a sense check on that. But yeah, I mean. Yeah, I want to see if we can pass by some of the, like I was telling you about the churches that have been destroyed. We're hoping to go around a little bit in Syria just because we don't know it all that well and it's such a beautiful country. But yeah, if I came across, some of the rubble and some of the, some of those critical zones, and if I can take pictures, assuming I can do that, then yeah, I would do that.
All right, I don't want you to get in trouble. It's not, you know what I mean, right? I
just don't want you to be put in a
position where it's just, I'm just saying, like we had this incident in Australia. We had some people sending me bushfire videos, type of things like that, like.
Yeah, exactly. No, of course, I couldn't take risks over there. Yeah.
No, definitely not. So you're a minimalist. You're living as a minimalist. You sound definitely like you know what you're doing. So what do you do for like cookware? Like, do you have stuff like do you have at least 4 cups and all that stuff and 4 plates?
Yeah, so, right. So I have very little cookware. I have two machines, and the bulkiest thing that I own is actually my water filter.
Really?
Yeah, so I have a four-phase water filter actually. It's I advise it to people. I was just actually on Geopolitics call, and he had a guest who was saying that fluoride is purposely put in water,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and all of that, the dangers that come through this. But there's actually a lot more worse things as well. There's hormones and medicine and all sorts
Yeah,
of, and of course the
Berkey
heavy
makes a
metal.
good water filter too. I filter my
Yeah.
water. I have a water filter in my house that's plugged into the city line.
Oh, so it's a whole house filter,
Yeah,
right?
except the I have a different line going to the backyard and the front yard for the water, like for the hose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't filter
Yeah.
that water because no way that would
Correct.
take it would be too weak. But the filter I have is almost as big as me. It's like 4 feet high, and it goes into my line, and then it goes this big blue thing, and it goes all the way down 3-4 feet and comes back up filtered.
Yeah, yeah, I have it for the tap water, which is my drinking water,
Mhm.
and then I have just a one, what do you call it? A one cartridge for the shower. That's it. So that's
So
the
what do you
bulkiest thing
do?
I own. Yeah.
Toiletries. Do you buy all your toiletries, like all your perfumes and makeups? At least do you go overboard with
So
that?
so I don't wear any makeup, and I've never worn makeup. I think the last time I tried makeup was when I was 12 years old. But that's something that I could never care about these things at all. And I also don't use anything artificial. So makeup is loaded with all sorts of really bad chemicals. So other than the fact that I think I mean, I don't mean to offend anyone's taste, but I don't like it at all. And apart from the aesthetic of it, which I don't like, it's also a lot of chemicals. And I think it's a huge waste of money. Like, it's amazing that so many women spend so much money, on nails and hair and things like that. And I've just never been that kind of person. So for me, that was an easy part to get rid of. When I decluttered, something interesting that happened, Mike, is that when you declutter and you really declutter, you become more sensitive to the environment. So you become more sensitive to radiation, you become more sensitive to taste and smell,
Mm-hmm.
and you start to you sense things a lot better. So your body, which is a good thing, because then you feel it when there's too much radiation or there's too much this or that. So I don't have any perfume because I can't handle the smells.
Oh, really?
Yes. So that's something that happened. It also probably came after I quit smoking. So I used to be a very heavy smoker when I was younger, in my teens, and to my even my later on. And so when you quit smoking, you can also get a much better, like when you heal from it, you start to smell better and taste better.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have a picture up here of Tyler Durden. The things you own end up owning you.
Yeah, that's an old Chinese saying, because it's the Chinese who believe in, who have that energy thing about the house and the home.
Oh, feng shui.
That's right. Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo. That's where it all comes from. I think that's where it all comes from. So it's been absorbed into the West, and then minimalism is a bit more Japanesey in character.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, the idea is that the more things you have, the more things you have to take care of. And often enough, it means a lot of money. I didn't drive in 7 years now, 8 years.
But you're driving us
So
crazy.
I used to drive as crazy. Yeah, I used to speed a lot. But
No, I'm talking like you're driving us, the people in the show. I'm just joking. Okay.
Okay.
Oh no, or
That's fine.
no. You don't.
But I
You,
mean,
you don't
here,
have a
I
driver's
can't
license,
get
but
my
you're
head
driving us
around.
up the wall.
Oh,
It's a joke.
I don't mean to.
Yeah.
I can't get my head around the cost of driving in this country. Like, I couldn't comprehend it. I tried to get my license a few times. I failed both times. And after that, I decided to just drop it because I decided I was never ever gonna buy a car, and it's always cheaper to use transit. And if you need a car, you may be better off just taking a taxi and just reading or doing something else while you're in the car. But I mean, Toronto is rated as one of I think it's the worst in North America for. I think that was. Did you cover that, Mike? I
Yes,
think
I
you might
did.
have covered that.
I covered that 3 times, and I covered specific cities, or AKA the worst in Canada, where everyone's arguing over which one's the worst city instead of arguing which one is the best.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me that Toronto is. I can't say that I really know, but the downtown looks pretty awful. I mean, when people get out of there uh, after, at 5 or on rush hour, it looks pretty awful. The transit is awful. Honestly, even the public transportation is awful in the city. In fact, I stopped using it like after they changed the system from what was the previous system to the Presto system. I don't know how many, if you know, or how many people on the chat know, but I stopped using transit. In fact, now I walk most of the time. So it's only when it's extreme weather or if it's really far that I'll grab a bus or something. Yeah, so that also went off my bills.
It's transit's very ample there in Toronto. Lots of transit, lots of subways and all kinds to get you around. That's fine. That's fine. Now,
well, people will disagree with you. It's very underserved. It's very dense, but people and it's underserved, and it can be really, really crowded and crammed on rush hour.
Oh my God! You know what you just put in my head? Do you know that song? Another bum rides the bus, or another one rides the bus.
Oh yeah, was that Queen?
No. That's another Queen, one bites the dust. But Weird Al made a song called "Another One Rides the Bus," and he says, "Hold on, the window's broken and the fan is broken. My face is turning blue. I haven't been in a crowd like this since I've been to see The Who. It was smelling like a room, and there was garbage all over the floor. We're already stopping to pick off more. Another one rides the bus."
Yeah, that sounds like it on rush hour. Mm-hmm. And then it can be really slow and not on time. Like I feel that you can never rely on transit. There's always something going on. On rush hour, it's going to stop somewhere. There's going to be an alarm somewhere. It's just it's a real hassle. So actually, when I stopped using transit, I felt that the quality of my life actually improved.
Really?
Because it's less stress, and you walk and you get fresh air. I spend a lot of time in front of the computer, so it's always good to walk and to just see just see the horizon, see farther than So I mean, it's worth walking. It's good exercise.
That's good.
And I also draw. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. That's good to know. It's good to know that you're a simplest and a minimalist. So you live a very simple life, a very minimal life. So there's less things, like you said, to take care of or maintain and manage.
Yep. Not to say anything about the time spent on these things. And then something else that I changed when I moved here. So when I first moved here, I gave the place a chance. I got to know I tried to get to know people. I would go to meetups and go to, events just to meet people and to see how I would fit around here. And to be honest, I just didn't like any of it. Mm. And it takes a lot of time to do something simple like an evening meetup. It takes 4 or 5 hours out of your day to just go to an hour and a half meetup, getting ready, going, coming back, the transit. And it wasn't all that rewarding. So I started to remove like almost everything in my life. And then I started working on my business, and I decided, nothing else is really worth it around here right now. So that's how I went into hermit mode, and I just work away,
Okay, let me ask you something. How you watching Mike in the Night? Like if you're a minimalist?
On my computer.
Okay, so you have a laptop.
Yeah, I have a laptop. Yeah.
Okay. Because if you had a desktop, then that's way too much wires and that's way too much to maintain.
Oh, no wires, and I've never owned a TV.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't watch television. I just go on YouTube and just choose what I want to see. This is like long time ago, I started to see that something is wrong with Hollywood. Long time ago. The last time I went to a movie was 21 years ago.
Okay, what? Last time you went to go see a movie was what?
21 years ago.
But what'd you go see? Star Wars?
I forget. It was a colleague. I don't know. I forget. I don't care. I honestly, 1977. I don't care. I live under a rock. I accept that when people tell me that.
Take a step back. Take a step back. You're watching the most underground, most suppressed channel on YouTube. You're watching Mike in the Night.
Exactly.
So you're
Exactly.
you know.
Exactly. I watch what matters, or at least I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So no TV, just a computer, one laptop, one phone, one speaker, one mattress, and one table.
The table, you eat at the table, or is the table
Yeah,
just
I do
cluttered with
everything on it.
stuff?
Well, I work on my business, so it's a bit cluttered with stuff, and then I clear it. So I eat here, yeah, sure enough. And I have one rug, which I inherited, which I kept from my dad.
Is it a
And
Persian
yeah,
rug?
that's it. It is a Persian rug.
Good. Those
It
rugs
is.
are nice. I have a few of them in my
Yeah, he
house.
had really good taste. He had really good taste.
The ones I have are
And
handmade, though. The ones I have, like, they're the ones that they put on the two pieces of wood and they stretch out the cords, and then they do it by hand.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole craft. It's very beautiful.
Yeah, the ones I have are like that. And then when you get them, you know the strings at the end, they're so long.
Yeah, I think it'd be long or short. Sometimes they cut them, and if they replace them, because sometimes they might wear out, so you
No,
replace them.
if I buy a Persian rug, I make sure the strings are at least like 13 inches long, so that I know
Yeah.
that it's been weaved recently.
Yeah.
Then you cut it.
Oh, ours are really old. Mine are really. I've had to do the ends once.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Very, very interesting, Layla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing that people can save on is the gym. I think that's also something I removed. I used to go to a studio, and they implemented their transgender bathroom thing. And at that point, I decided I wasn't gonna be part of a studio that, where men can go into the women's washrooms and women, people undress, like people change clothes. It's, it needs to be private. So at that point, I took it as a sign to change my ways, and I just practice at home, and I walk. So I don't think you need a gym, really. There's so much on YouTube. You're better off going outdoors whenever you can. All you need is a mat and a few things, and even some people get by without that. So I think you can save, on that as well.
Wow. Well, you brought up some very solid tips.
Yeah, but I have to agree with you, Mike. Like what you were saying on that when you were covering that article, that there's a difference between wanting to go minimalistic because you want to, or because it's something to explore, as opposed to having to just remove all of these things. For me, I'm generally a minimalist and clutter-free, but I do also feel that it's just a hassle doing things, and at some point it feels cut off. It's just inconvenient, but it's also annoying. Like it would be nice to have more elbow room in life,
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you have to figure out your priorities.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Layla, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and giving us your inside expertise on this. Thank you. I appreciate that very much.
My pleasure. Anytime, Mike. Anytime, everyone else on the show. Thanks so much, Mike.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
You too. Bye-bye.
That is Layla in the house. Wow. Let me take a breath here. Let me just take a breath. Wow. Minimalist and a simplist. I don't even know if that's an English word. Minimalist and simplicitless. Okay. So Bob Smithers in the house. Supreme Canon is in the house. Tig Nim in the house. Jordan Retro in the house. Layla, of course. Tig Nim. Elizabeth. Red Pill Gary. Ryan Holden is in the house. Chris, we got to get Ryan to call in one day when he can. He's always commenting. Everybody that comments on here, we have a new one that I haven't seen before. 55318 008 in the house. We got a newcomer to the gang that just joined. Welcome to Mike in the Night. Wow. Man, we've been going for an hour and 20 minutes. All right, let's do a quick mid show plug here, guys. Support the transmission. Go here and join. So Tig Nim joined, Supreme Canon joined. So if anybody else could join, I'd appreciate it right here. $1.99 a month to join, and it's not much, but it helps out in the end. It really does. It's every way supports. Don't forget to go on Teespring, guys, and pick up some cool stuff. There's some pretty cool stuff here. I'm going to make more mugs. People are telling me to make more mugs. I'm going to make I got a Raven mug. I got Morning Coffee with Mike. So I got the new Raven mugs here. They're in the house. They're really nice. And there it is on the back with the Raven. And there it is with the front with the Raven. And then we got the other Raven mug here. Wait. It's this one here. It's just a nice mug to have. I'm going to get some samples. And then there's that mug. Oh, wait. I showed you that one. You want to see the one with the mount skulls. The mounts and the skulls. That one's really nice too. And that one with mount skull. And it says Mike in the Night right here. Really nice Raven mug. And then I got a new morning. I think it's a Morning Coffee with Mike. Yeah, Morning Coffee with Mike is really, really cool in black. Look at that. You could get it in red or pink. Or it actually looks good in pink. And look at the back. Anytime is coffee time with Mike Martins. So if you're looking to buy a mug, it's $15, and it's a good mug too. And let me see what it looks like in yellow. I think it's going to offset the white. Yeah, be careful what color you choose, guys. You see how the color, you can't see the color now? So be careful, guys. So you want to get a dark color like that or a black. Black is the way to go. Look at that. Anytime is coffee time. And we're talking about minimalism a bit today. We'll do a whole show on minimalism, and talking about different aspects, but this is Mike in the Night. We just, we start talking about it, it becomes what we talk about. And, God, what else do I have new on the channel? I lowered the price on everything. New stuff here, where is it? The new stuff right here. Some of this stuff, I lowered the price. Premium V-necks. The socks, I'm going to get samples of all this stuff. Mike in the Night, all over print. Unisex, this is nice. That's really nice. And there's the back. The back is today's show. If you look at the clip for today's show, that's it right there, the thimble. It's the girl reaching her hand out, and it says Mike in the Night on the top there. So, if you're a minimalist, at least own one Mike in the Night. One Mike in the Night thing. Thank you for my Patreon supporters. I'm at 22. Hoping to get to 25 by Christmas. If you want to message me an article or you want to get in touch with me, the best way to message me, because I have my Skype always turned off, and everyone's always like, yeah, man, Mike, you should, turn on your Skype. Just call me on here. Just message me on here. I got 99 notifications. You go over here, 117,000 followers. There's a lot of fake pages out there, so watch out, guys. And thanks for tipping me. Anyways, all right, that's your commercial there, guys. All right, is everyone okay? Yeah, everyone seems okay. All right. Elizabeth in the house, Solid Exter. Hold on. Solid Exter, listen, bud, I need to talk to you about something. You're saying you got a guy that works for you, works with you, and he basically, let's see, I'm going to ask him this question. I gotta ask Solid Extra this too. Turn on your Skype, Solid. No, he's not. He's got his Skype off. Yeah, guys, be careful with minimalizing your photos and digitizing things, because Ryan Holden's saying the problem with digital is you lose it all easy, yeah. Like an external hard drive, that's correct. Can call in now. Okay, no problem. Because Solid Extra brought up in the comments that he works over at a restaurant called, it's a popular restaurant here in Canada. You probably see me make videos there before. It's called Swish LA. Now, he said he works there, and there's somebody that's working there that's 60 doing the same job he is, and he's looking over at him and wondering, is that going to be me in the future? That is very scary talk right there. That's very scary Terry stuff here. You know what I'm saying? Very scary Terry stuff. All right, guys. All right, who do we got? The Raven's apologizing. Oh, I apologize to the Raven because he said he's at work. He doesn't have time to come on. No problem. Everybody looks like they're off right now. Who is there? We got Supreme Cannon, always on the sidelines. We got... I'm trying to get a hold of Walking Journey because I want to touch back on this article I threw up here This article I had up here, it's kind of interesting. This one here, where would it go? Ooh, groceries going to get much higher. Got to get somebody in Australia on the show about that. Arsonist. Where did that story go? Places that people... right here. This one. He lives in Texas, and Walking Journey... Walking Journey basically is in Texas. He moved from California. He's very conservative. He's a Mexican conservative, voted Donald Trump, and basically this thing is saying that everyone's moving to Texas from all those states, and Florida and South Carolina and Utah. I would like to know from his point of view, because he made a whole video saying, if you're from California, we don't want you here in Texas. That's a good video on his channel, by the way. Okay. Okay, Mike McKesmick is, I'm a minimalist now after a divorce. Yeah. Emma Murdy saying, wish you do these earlier, Mike, 1 a.m. here. I know. There's someone in watching from Miami is telling me the same thing. That's the way to do it, Mike. Maybe one day I'll get a Skype, but for now I'm good. Elizabeth, that's key. It's important. Leila says that's important to be able to think back and process death well, accepting it is a true gift. Oh, yeah. You know, my dad passed away last summer, and it was a total shock, an absolute, because he came on vacation to see his granddaughter be born. He's 66, 67, good health, does his checkups, and doesn't feel well here, goes in, and they say, well, you got stage 4 cancer, inoperable. I'm sorry, man. We'll set you up with a bed at home, and there's nothing we could do. And man, was that ever the biggest... one of the biggest life experiences I think I lived. One of the biggest... losses I think I've ever taken in my life. Ever. One of the biggest, bigger than any financial loss, or bigger than any relationship loss, bigger than any loss I've ever had in my life. You take every loss you've taken and add it together and multiply it by 1,000,000. That's how big of a loss. And today, it's almost like a part of me went with him. It's like, it hurts, you know. Death is, you know, we're going to do a death show too in the future where people could call in and talk about how death in the family or death of a friend or a close one changed their lives forever. Death isn't a joke. It changes everyone else's lives. Everyone around them change. Everything changes. So what else we got going on? I don't know if Lord Humongous is here. I don't see him in the comments. Yeah, if you guys, I did a lot of videos back when my dad was sick talking about it. If you guys are ever bored and want to go to my channel and actually, if you actually really want to get to know me, go to my actual channel, go to videos, and then maybe go back like a year or half a year and go really back and really see, you know, some of my personal struggles. Live at the hospital, just massive rants, marriage drama series. If you really want to get to know me, go back here. Go in the history of my channel and see some stuff. So, let's see who we got. Let's see if we can get someone from Australia. Let me see if I could get Stephen Thomas. I'm not sure. I know it's 2 p.m. there in Melbourne. But I would like to get him on the show because I would like to ask him what's happening with the price of food. Let's see if Andrew's available. probably driving. Usually he's driving around. I want to get on somebody from Australia. Let me see who I could find here real quick. Be nice to talk to him and ask him what's going on with the price of food. There he is. Oh, he's on. I think he's on. I think he's on.
The person whom you're trying to reach is currently unavailable.
All right, so Stevie's not there. He's probably on lunch, because I know he has Sunday lunches or brunches, so it's Sunday afternoon there. I want to know what's going on with Charles Owen says he's from Australia. I just want to know what's happening with the price of food there, because we discussed this 2 weeks ago when we did Mike of the Night with the Sydney, Australia, the brush fires in Australia. I was asking people in Australia, we had 4 guests on from Australia, asking them what's going to happen with the price of food, what's going to happen with harvest, what's going to happen with food in general if they're not going to reach harvest season. And then it was, I think they were 14 weeks away from harvest season. So Charles Owen says he's just buying a Chinese takeaway. Yeah! I had Chinese today too. My PMs helped me relocate my ex. I could have a house back. At least it was in 2011 when they bought a lot. Charles Owen says it seems to be going up 5% every 6 months. Yeah, that's a big deal. People used to be house broke, but most of those people are living in trailers and abandoned homes. Now they're going to be food broke because they can't afford to buy food. All right. Let's get Supreme Cannon on. Good old Supreme Cannon. Let's see if he picks up, if he's not in trouble with the authorities.
Hola, carnal.
Hey, carnal, ¿cómo estás?
So far so good.
So, okay, we got a question right there that's directed right to you. Is logging taking a hit in your area?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, cutbacks are bad. The stumpage, the revenue the Crown collects for timber that's cut, has been, prices were really high towards the end of 2018, and then they dropped in half before the end of the year. Well, nice. the stumpage has remained at that level since.
That happened with the potash when the Russians threw on all their potash 3 years ago on the market.
Yeah, no, it's a bad scene. The part of the problem too is they have private they're called timber sales, where they have certain blocks that the Crown lays out, and then the forest companies and individuals can bid for them. And the prices that they've been paying for those logs, because logging is still fairly brisk, the prices they're paying are outlandish. Like they can't believe how high they're continuing to bid. I personally have no idea who's making money at the levels that they're paying, but there's still this crazy competition for wood. So until that dies down, I just think it's going to be tight. Plus, of course, we had the pine beetle that went through northern British Columbia and central British Columbia in the mid 2000s. So there's a lot of sawmills up there that are completely out of wood to cut. It's all gone. Well, it was dead and dry. They let them go and take just about all of it, so it didn't rot and go to waste. But of course, after 4 or 5 years like that, it's just not marketable anymore. So yeah, we're having some serious timber shortages, which would raise the price anyway. Plus, yeah, the log prices for logs that a lot of forestry companies are paying are insane right now.
Okay,
it's not all the government.
All right, let's get to. There's some pretty steep articles here. Okay, let me ask you the question I asked Layla when she came on the show. Would you prefer to live in Windsor and drive to Kentucky to work, or like a 10-degree Celsius temperature difference in the winter, or would you just get 6 hours to go to Vancouver Island? To Vancouver.
Honestly, if I could get a good paying job in Kentucky, I would move there. I wouldn't stay in Windsor and drive
but
there.
I'm saying if you had to
You know what I mean?
commute, this guy's doing a 6-hour commute from nowhere to nowhere, right?
Sure, absolutely.
If people don't understand how close these two destinations are, they don't get it. And you look on the map, it's almost halfway to Florida. He's driving from Windsor.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Yeah, no, it's insane. The thing
showed
is,
it on the map, 6 hours. You're like
Yeah.
in Lexington, dude.
yeah, it's a shorter distance geographically, which means the driving itself, the hazard of traveling on the highway is obviously a lot shorter. Most of it is probably lineups for the ferry. The ferry ride itself is just a little over an hour each way, so it's not that bad. And I took the ferry last January. I think it's been the first time I've been over to the island in 40 years, to be honest. So it was a nice hour and a half to go upstairs and have some lunch and watch the scenery go by. But yeah, no, if you have to commute 6 hours, I think you've got to take a hard look at your life. Either he's hoping it's something that will blow over, he perceives it as some kind of temporary situation, but it's not like they don't need paramedics on Vancouver Island. If he's going to stay there because he simply can't afford to move to the Lower Mainland, then he should probably just find work,
Locally.
in Nanaimo or Duncan or somewhere. Yeah, just
Yeah.
more locally. He's got a pretty specific skill set and a very valuable skill set, and definitely a portable skill set. Maybe he should think about moving somewhere else.
Well, we have a problem where we had this problem because it started with the housing affordability, and then now it stems to keeping these people. And I've been talking about this for years on trends in the housing market. Keeping these professionals here to maintain the infrastructure. That's a huge challenge now.
Sure, it is, absolutely, and that's part of the reason his commute is probably getting progressively longer, is because of all the other people that are living over there that have to commute to the Lower Mainland every morning and go home again at night. Yeah, it's crazy. It's very it just eats up so much of your life. I can't see it lasting.
Okay, now let me ask you, what's with the two unskilled immigrants moving to Canada? The Prince guy, or not the Prince, the singer?
That hairy dude.
Yeah, I mean, what, Canada's
Yeah.
taking in more unskilled immigrants?
Apparently, he's got a fairly impressive resume. I suppose he could always sign up and serve in the armed forces or something. Apparently, he has some military experience.
So
he
what's
knows
the
a way.
deal with the Canadians are going to pay $1 million a day for their security?
Oh, I think the number I read was 850,000 a year. It's not $1 million a day, but it's.
Oh, okay,
it's
because I
it's pretty excessive. I don't know. I would advocate them not having security because, frankly, I wouldn't really be brokenhearted if something happened to them. I don't know. They don't need to be here. If he's not representing the monarchy, I mean, I am still, in my heart, traditionally, I'm still a monarchist, because this is British North America, right? This is, I've always been kind of an empire loyalist. It's more sentimentality than anything else. But these people aren't here representing anything. Mm-hmm. She's a hardcore feminist social justice warrior. She's traveling around, getting photo ops all over the place. And I have absolutely no idea what he's going to do. But we don't need either of them here. Mm-hmm. It isn't all just well, it isn't all just people coming from the third world. We've got a few first world ones that really need to leave too.
Well, it's kind of when everybody was threatening to leave the United States if Donald Trump won. I am so grateful Rosie O'Donnell didn't come here.
We'd need a wall of our own, I'm sure. If the people that all talked about leaving if Trump was elected or kept threatening to do it, frankly, we have enough of those types here already. We're overrun with them. This is basically Tumblr, the country. We don't need them here. Yeah. I'm glad that they were just blowing smoke anyway. I mean, they're just emotional children. Mm-hmm. The scandal is how long they've been taken seriously and how many things people have implemented because they jumped up and down and demanded them. And everyone is saying, no, that's stupid. We don't want that. And then the next thing you know, that's what's happening. Well, what do you mean? What are you doing? We said no. right? We elected people to stop this from happening, and it's still happening. What's going on?
Mhm.
That's part of the reason that you got guys like Trump. And even if he's a puppet, well, you know what? I don't know. We'll see. Only history's going to tell that. But the elites don't love each other either, right? Like, when you're getting this close to what they perceive to be their end game, you're going to have competition for top spot.
Right.
So whether he's a puppet of the elites or whatever, it doesn't matter. He's an elite himself. He's one of those 0.1% guys.
He's more of a self-made man.
Well, he is, and I mean, he knows how dirty everything is. I mean, he did all that building in New York. You don't do building in New York unless you have intimate relationships with the mafia, right?
You do.
Like,
you need to know people. You need to have ties to everything. You even need ties to the Russian. You need to know everybody. Like, I'm not trying to collude him with. I'm saying with anybody and everybody in the garbage takeaway, the construction, the concrete, the pouring. You need to know framers. You need to know welders. You need to be in with all those unions and know who these people are, who to give the best contracts to, who could do the best job for less. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Plus all the bankers. So he's dealing with New York labor unions, and he's dealing with the New York planning department, and he's dealing with New York labor unions and bankers.
So basically, he's dealing with the Corleone family.
He's dealing with the Corleone family on every conceivable level.
Yeah.
So he knows how to get things done, and ostensibly without breaking too many laws. So so he knows he has the gift to schmooze, no question about it.
Hey,
yeah, Robert Moses. I'm familiar with that. Yeah. I think I mentioned in the comment when you were showing that, if Merritt Playhouse ever does West Side Story, I think you'll be getting a call, buddy.
Dude, this thing's awesome. It even has it says The Wanderers on the back.
Yeah, reminds me of initiation day in high school. Everybody was supposed to go as greasers, so I had some leather jacket with T-birds on it or something like that, because Grease was still out at that time, eh?
Oh, okay, so you did it at the right time, is what you're saying.
Oh, you betcha. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I used to love 50s music, too, like Sean and Odd, stuff like that. Yeah, I dug all that.
Okay, now let's get to becoming a minimalist. Supreme, do you consider yourself a minimalist, and what do you oversupply yourself on? Is it T-shirts? Is it like Jordan Retro, the first caller on the show, where it's shoes? What do you oversupply yourself on, and do you consider yourself a minimalist?
I'd consider myself a minimalist. If I oversupply myself on anything, it's probably coffee and tobacco. But I have my reasons for just leaving those two vices alone. The way I always say it is, well, the only vices I have, if I got rid of them, I'd be perfect. Then I wouldn't have any friends, right? So then I leave it at that. No, the thing that I hoard the most right now is I'm living debt free, and I've been living debt free for about 2.5 years, and it was a long time of minimal living to get to this position. And crawl out of that smoking crater that my life had turned into, right? So I'm doing what works for me because it is getting me to where I want to go. I imagine I'll own property again someday, but I'm at an age where I have to think about way more important things. I've got my own future to think about, and I've got my children's future to think about because I am a father.
Supreme, when you reach a certain age, what age do you think where someone reaches where housing becomes more of a handicap than it becomes more of a handicap than something more in favor of?
Boy, that could start at any age, I mean, you look at these young people that have bought this expensive real estate. It's an incredible handicap, and even though they're perfectly young and healthy, right? It's not going to turn into what they thought they were buying property for. When you get older, if it's level entry and it's like, say, in a strata and the yard work's taken care of or something along that line, it's mostly if you're married or if you have a family or something like that. Otherwise, like I'm back in the hometown that I went to high school in. My family's here, and it's nice to be here. I live half a kilometer from the high school I was a valedictorian at. It's been quite a life, I'll tell you what, so far.
I'm going to come one summer and visit you.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, it's a nice little place.
Yeah, you'd like it. Or like a 50s cafe or something?
They did. They turned it into something else. There was a really nice cafe, and they turned it into it's called the Railside now.
For trans.
We've managed to avoid that so
Oh,
far.
okay. So you don't
You
have one
don't
of those
have to.
bathrooms
Yeah.
like the Layla said at her gym.
No, we've no, we've managed to avoid that
Woo!
so far. Yeah. Yeah, solid extra. I was valedictorian. Yeah, the yearbook said I was most likely outcome was I'd be the leader of the Bundestag. I had no idea that anybody knew what the Bundestag was when I went to high school.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I don't speak German still, so I'm not eligible for leadership of the Bundestag. But yeah, full circle, Bob. That's for sure. There's been a few circles that have completed in my life. It's funny. You have questions, and they're like planets or like Halley's Comet. You know, they go out into the void, and then it seems you live long enough. Some of them start coming back around, and they get some, and you get some answers to some questions. It's been an interesting journey. Still not where I'd like to be in life. I'd like to be able to travel more. I'd like to know that I have financial independence when I do start, having to use a stick to walk around on. Hopefully that's a few decades away yet. You know what I mean? I've got kids. I want to make sure that they're going to be okay no matter what. I'm thinking about the family at large. That's kind of the job of a patriarch. So, you're doing the same thing, Mike. You're thinking about your children's future, and you're training them up to make their way in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just part of the deal. So where I am right now, I've the suite that I've got is very reasonably priced. The people love having me here. I've been here 4.5 years now, and that time has flown. I'll tell you what. But the big thing is that if forestry took a dive for a year or two, I have enough reserves that I don't have to sweat about it. The big thing for me is, going out, finding out something else to do in my mid-50s, right? So I don't think I'm going to have to do that. So that's not something that I'm panicked about. But I don't have a bunch of kids to raise, and I don't have payments to make. So, it's just minimalism. The idea of minimalism is clutter creates chaos, and chaos affects you psychologically. Your externality begins to manifest inwardly and vice versa,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you've got stuff cluttered all over the place, it's usually a reflection of what's going on in your own mind. Someone on here said something about dopamine addicts, people who are compulsive shoppers. Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. I think Sigmund Freud covered something in one of his memoirs on that. I remember him covering something in that, and he linked it to. I think it's before we knew what all this stuff was dopamine, and I think he was covering it as more of an animal urge instinct to want to own specific possessions to I guess keep up with the Joneses is what we call it nowadays. I remember Mr. Freud covered that in one of his earlier writings. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think so. It's a sense of competition. Like I found often when I'm on the highway, and I'm making a good clip. If I see a vehicle ahead of me, I am, without thinking, I'm driving to pass everyone I meet, and I do see that a lot in people that pass me by on the highway. It seems like they're aiming for the next car to get around. It's just not one of those things that you think about, until you either get into an accident or until you realize, what am I doing? Because usually when you pull up to the first stoplight in the first town you get to, the person that you passed is pulling up right alongside of you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You don't even really get that far ahead. People take in unbelievable risks to save 30 seconds in their commute. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of the dead people you see on the freeway and you see in the ditch in the winter and things like that. It's just they're already concentrating on the next thing they're going to do when they get to where they're going, and they stop paying attention to what they're doing in that moment, and that's dangerous.
Yeah, and I got some good news. I have there's someone I'm talking to that wants to come on the show, and he's been studying the brain and brain surgery, and studying the brain, and is a doctor and the whole 9 yards. And he wants to come on the show because I made a video about a whiles back on Morning Coffee with Mike that we don't even know anything. We haven't even scratched the surface of where our thoughts come. We don't even know we've named parts of the brain. I kind of want to throw this out there now because it just popped in my mind. Because look, it just came in my mind. Why is this coming in my mind right now? So there's this brain surgeon that is going to make some time to come on the show. He said in the spring, and we'll just go and just ask questions and talk, and trying to figure out where our thoughts come, or where they or where things originate from, how we get things pop in our heads that happened 13 years ago or 25 years ago, or maybe even going back to when we were babies and stuff. But the reason why I bring this up, Supreme, is because we think we know. We think we got it in drive. We got our hands on the wheel. We're going to our destination. But the problem is, Supreme, we don't even know how our minds work. We don't even know where our thoughts originate from in our minds. You know what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
we're going to get to a part in life, or a part where humanity could actually take a grip and say, we know 10% of everything now. I don't think we even know 1% of anything, honestly, to be really frank with you.
Oh, I absolutely agree with that. I don't think we know a fraction of a percent of what there is to know, and I mean, even somebody like Isaac Newton, said that, and there isn't anybody here can compete with an intellect like that. At the primitive, relatively primitive times he was living in, it didn't limit him. It didn't limit the the Greek thinkers of their time and their philosophers. They had a lot of time to sit around and chew on things that we're wrestling with today, and they're still taught in philosophy today. And because the human being really hasn't changed that much in thousands of years. So if you have a basic understanding of even an ancient understanding of human nature, you can translate it to a modern understanding. I just think that we live in an era of a debt-fueled illusion where you have all these loudspeakers and bright lights and big noises telling us that it's a new world now. The dawning of the age of Aquarius, a new century, a new millennium, right? And people think that means that the old rules don't apply anymore, and they think that you can do whatever you want. And we also have been incredibly proficient at shielding people from consequences of foolish things that used to get them killed not that long ago. And I don't think that's going to last.
You know who I think knows more than the average, not the average Joe, but the average maybe scientist, and maybe the average, honestly, in my opinion, I think some of the Buddhist monks, the true Buddhist monks that have reached nirvana or reached that higher state of consciousness, I think those are the very few people on the planet that really, really get it.
Absolutely, yeah. No, you spend a lot of time in solitude. You spend a lot of time in deep thought. You spend a lot of time in observation. You just contemplate nature, and it doesn't even have to be sitting in a jungle somewhere. I mean, there's a reason why some of the deepest thinkers and the most profound mystics in history, lived in the desert. What could you learn about life by living in a desert or being a Bedouin, right? Or living in a Spartan atmosphere like a Buddhist temple or a Shinto temple, for that matter.
Take this situation. Take this instance. People going into solitary confinement or people incarcerated for many years end up finding Jesus. Why? Because in prison, you're a minimalist. You have next to nothing, and you start to learn, I guess, and then somebody finds God, or finds Jesus. And why is it when you're always at the bottom, in the darkest corners, in the worst time of your life, do people actually find? You see what I'm saying, Supreme? How it's always, like you said, in the desert or in solitary confinement in the dark for 3 months. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yeah. It all comes down to, I mean, there's age-old existential questions about whether suffering is something that's imposed on us or it's just something that is ingrained in us. But it seems that suffering is where a lot of this beauty is, things that we would consider to be beautiful happen. You think about music, some of the most heartfelt music, whether it's rhythm and blues or gospel or, whatever your favorite, rap and hip hop, for crying out loud. A lot of it is rage. It's wrestling with desire. It's looking inside yourself and seeing the darkness, but also bringing out the light that's within you as well. We're so dualistic in that way, right? And man, that's a deep subject. We're constantly trying to rediscover the old things. And part of it is because we want something new all the time. It's like, yeah, I know all that and I get it, and yeah, this is a crock and that's not a big deal.
But to find the answer,
but it's just,
it doesn't to logically or to spiritually or whatever find the answer. Doesn't it always?
Yeah.
We always end up taking ourselves back to basics every time to get the answers we need.
Yes. Well, the basics make sense then. There's an old saying, I think Bruce Lee said something along the line, is in the beginning, a punch is just a punch, right? And then you go through all of the effort and the repetition and the drilling and the sparring of becoming, a kung fu master or something like that, okay? And then it's something profound and there's all these techniques. And in the end, when you attain mastery, a punch is just a punch again. And that's kind of an analogy. That's the first analogy that came to my mind. Yeah, I live a very basic life, but I'm not poor. I'm okay. Mm-hmm. I'm all right. Anyone would look at me and figure, yeah, I didn't do very well in life. Well, I've done a lot in life. I've had some victories. I've certainly had some some terrible things happen too, no question.
But
they've taught me a lot.
Things had to happen to you?
I think they did. Some of them, they were inevitable just because of my own temperament. Some of them were because I didn't understand the times I was living in.
Let me ask you.
A lot of things aren't the same right now.
Let me ask you something. Do you think in your just be honest with me? Do you believe that everything happens? Do you believe in the Fibonacci? What is that? Where everything happens for a reason? Where everything that was destined to happen to you regardless? There's no way of if, ands, or ways of putting it? Or do you think more of the Tractatus logical, philosophical? You can never prove anything no matter what.
Well, that's something people have been wrestling with for thousands of years, right? And I think, yes, I tend to think more, my thoughts cast more around, it was in one of the Psalms of David, where he said, every day of my life was recorded in your book before one of them came to be. I think if you had an extra dimensional source for this physical world that we live in, it would be, and a lot of physicists are talking that way, that what we actually live in is a computer simulation. I don't think it's that, but I think that's the analog that comes to their mind, is that someone designed a program and then let it run. But, what appears chaos to us isn't them.
Steve Hall's got it right. Fibonacci is a math explanation for system of behavior.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, there's a lot of underlying, prime numbers apparently are, they're kind of a mystery in themselves, and Fibonacci and the golden ratio, like in architecture and things like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're a lot of life and nature is fractal, that word gets thrown around a lot. There's just so many, there's just so much precision and so many identifiable mechanics. It doesn't mean that we understand how they originated or why they exist.
But this takes us back to the Tractatus Logico Philosophicus now.
Yeah.
Then now it's
that's right.
You can't really prove anything. It exists. Is an item a thing? If it's not a thing, does it exist? And that you're going back in circles, and you end up becoming a madman, basically, if you follow through with the track.
Well, I think. It's like Nietzsche with that quote of his about staring into the abyss. Well, that's if you assume it is an abyss. Right. Like even outer space isn't empty. There's energy there. There's all kinds of forces there, obviously operating 24/7, and 24/7 is just from our perspective, spinning around a star. It's the nature of existence itself is really deep. The nature of consciousness, it's one of those things where if you a priori believe that everything in existence that we observe has a material cause and only a material cause, well then, you're going to be confused by certain things. And I think that we just got to the point where so many inconsistencies get swept under the rug to maintain the existing narrative, mm-hmm. that there's just going to be one day an eruption. There's going to be another revolution. I don't think that it will be a spiritual revolution. I don't think it's going to be something, it won't be identified that way. It will be just a matter of the nature of existence is going to become more, I'm going to throw out the word quantum. Exactly what that means, I couldn't tell you. All I know is that people with a lot of alphabet soup after their names believe in it, and they believe that it's really weird. The nature of existence has not been identified. Anybody who says otherwise doesn't know what they're talking about. That's how I see it.
I'm pulling up a PDF. Guys, if you want to read something good, I recommend that if you really want to read something, a good mind twister, but don't take it too serious because you'll lose your mind reading this. It's called the Tractatus Logico Philosophicus. I got the PDF here. It's free. You could read it. Don't read anything that people deciphered in the book at the beginning. Don't bother reading that. Go right to the meat and potatoes where you got passage 1, and you just go right to that, and it starts off by saying, because the totality of facts determines what is the case and also all that is not the case. Because the wow, I can't even read it. Totality of facts determines what is the case and also all that is not the case. Then it goes on to say, the facts in logic space are the world. Then it goes on to say, the world divides into facts. Then it goes on to say, each can be the case or not be the case, and all else stay the same.
Yeah, and it gets complicated. The problem that we have in the Western scientific tradition, especially since scientific inquiry went from the cathedral to the university, is the problem that they have is if you wear a white coat and you've got a lot of diplomas on the wall, you can never say we don't know. Why? You have to come up with a theory, and you have to come up with to be able to publish that theory. Well, because they have to publish or perish. Like you have to produce quote unquote knowledge. There's a possibility that up to half of all scientific studies conducted in the last, say, 25 years are not even true. I've seen articles on that too. It's like there's a whole bunch of stuff that's published and is taught as fact that is not true.
Okay,
it's
listen to this
either
passage.
fudge numbers or that'd be scary if that were the case.
If all objects are given, then therewith all possible state of affairs are also given. Then it goes on to say, each thing is, as it were, in a space of possible state of affairs. I can conceive of this space as empty, but I cannot conceive of the thing without the space.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. This is that, and everything else is not that, basically, is what it sounds like to me. That seems pretty logical, but it is profound. I mean, it's a basis for trying to determine truth.
Right.
Right. But again, if you're not allowed to say, I don't know, or well, this is the theory, this is what science has settled on as a theory, and you have to teach something to the next generation of scientists, and they say, well, you say this, but you don't actually see that. Well, don't ask so many questions. Right? You've got a lot of funding that depends on maintaining a certain narrative. It's not all just the quest for truth.
Okay, listen to this. This is a really good one. This one is very basic, but it makes you think. We make pictures of facts for ourselves. A picture represents a state of things in logical space, the existence and non-existence of states of affairs.
Yeah. What does that mean to you? What do you think that means? It's pretty chewy stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, guys, if this is
really
the Tractatus Logico Philosophicus, this is very, 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 very dangerous material, believe it or not. There have been several people that have read this and tried to decipher most of it, and a lot of people lost their minds with this. You know that, Supreme?
I don't doubt it, because the number of possible things that you would have to take into account to proclaim something as truth. I mean, that fact tree could be infinite, and there's just so many things that we don't have definitive answers for. That's why when you go down this route, and it's not even really a digression. It's like this going down the rabbit hole of conspiracies. I've done that. I've done that for 10 years. You name the conspiracy and I've looked into it, right? Just because I wanted to know what the hell's going on. Most of it was just personal. It's like, what happened to my life? What happened to my own life, right?
Well,
it's like I said before, okay, Supreme, what did we learn today? Well, the thing about all of those things is some of them contradict each other, and it's all being controlled by us, a bunch of guys in a smoky room in Geneva somewhere or something. Well, it's life is way more complex than that. You can master, as long as you have a matrix set up where you control the facts that are available to the great mass of people. Yeah, you can kind of manifest that reality for a while, but that doesn't mean that people are happy about it. It doesn't mean that it's meeting their needs. And if it isn't actually true, well, at some point in time, the truth eventually emerges.
Okay.
And then a whole bunch of things become chaotic again, right?
Then we get to chaos theory. But anyways.
Yes.
I'm just joking.
Yeah.
Okay. Passage 2, paragraph 13. Listen to this. I'm going to continue with the picture you asked me what I thought, right? Ready for this? In a picture, the elements of a picture corresponds to objects. Next passage. In a picture, the elements of the picture stand in for objects. Then it goes on to say, a picture consists in its elements relating to one another in a specific way. Then it goes on to say, a picture is a fact. And then it goes on to say, the elements of a picture's relating to each other in a specific way represents matters relating to each other just so.
Okay. Right off the top of my head, you can look at a picture, for example. Say you saw a picture of, you're a Catholic. Say you saw a picture of at Easter time of Christ on the cross.
Right.
Okay, so you would see a landscape, you'd see sky, you'd see weather, obviously, which has happened throughout history. That's not controversial. You might see some people standing around that picture. You would have the image of the Son of God, or at least the self-described Son of God. Let's be fair. We've got skeptics here too. That's fine. Okay, so you've got this picture. All right. Now, depending on your personal viewpoint and your own personal mental and emotional filter, that picture is going to mean different things to different people.
Right.
Right. To a Catholic or to a Christian, that picture is something sacred. It's God Himself laying down His life in our stead. Taking on Himself the death that we bought for having been conceived and born in sin. Okay. For someone who's a skeptic, it's just some Jewish cult leader executed on a Roman torture stake, right? If it's someone who's into the Church of Satan, it's like it's their trophy. It's like when you put antlers on your wall after you go deer hunting. Yeah, we got him, right? It's a picture of a fact. Okay. And again, I probably shouldn't have used Christ because some people, that's a myth too, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a picture of a mountain. Let's go with that. All right.
Hold on. Tignim in the comments is saying picture is not a fact.
Well, if the picture exists, it could be a picture of something mythical, but the picture itself exists.
But then it goes back to the passage
picture doesn't
here.
create itself.
Well, then it goes back to the passage that a picture consists in its elements relating to one another in a specific way. So that means the picture must be a fact.
Yeah, well, that the picture.
I'm not talking about the thing in the picture isn't a fact, but the picture itself becomes a fact.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And then and then it goes on to say the elements of a picture's relating to each other in a specific way represents matters relating to each other just so.
Yeah, if you had a picture of a mountain, okay, mm-hmm. you see the mountain, this emanation from the Earth's crust, right? Probably coated with snow or with trees or something like that, things growing on it. That's an image of things interacting in nature. You see the expanse of the sky usually, or something behind it, which represents its location relative to the planet, relative to the atmosphere, and to everything beyond the atmosphere, especially if you see the sun or the moon or something like that in that picture, right? But only in the regard that the picture itself is a fact in that it exists, because it could be one of those artist's impressions of a mountain on Mars, right? Well, you don't really know. No one's been there. Well, we've got pictures from rovers and things like that, but no one's actually been there. We're assuming that this is a fact, right? But the picture itself existing, it's just it. I think they're talking about all the different perspectives that you can look at that picture, including the existence of the picture itself.
Okay, now hold on.
Does that make sense?
Okay, you ready for this? Are you ready for this? On this view, the picturing relation that makes it a picture also belongs to the picture.
Oh boy, I'm gonna have to go pour about 3 fingers of Fireball before I start trying to get my head around that. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, you could get really immersed in this.
I read this in grade 9.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had to get everybody to get it. Okay, in grade 9, like our English teacher, his name was Mr. Longa, and he said, to get into the class, we do silent reading for 20 minutes, and you cannot get into the class without a book. So we all had to go to the library on our first day of English class and pick up a book that we're going to read for like 6 weeks until we read it off in class. So I was looking around and I said, "Whoa, what is this?" It looked like Bible passages. I'm like, "Oh, this is the Tractatus Logico Philosophicus. I'm going to read this book." And I read it 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I think, in my opinion, we're going to go back to when we started talking about the mind and understanding. This is the closest thing, in my opinion, in my life history, that's closest to kind of understand our own coordinates in our own lives. The coordinates of where we're headed. This kind of gets your mind kind of exercised in a way. And I think it starts pulling thoughts out of your mind that you never thought you would ever, experience,
Yeah, well, it's like chewing gum and getting the flavor out of it, right? There are things in life that you have to ponder and ruminate on. Now, Wittgenstein, I think this is from like the 15th or 16th century, isn't it?
No, World War I.
Oh, was that recently? I mean,
World
it's 100
War I.
years ago.
Most philosophical,
Sure.
Most philosophical writings of the 20th century. Let me tell you where this was written.
Okay.
You're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe it when I tell you, because you're going to look it up and say, "Holy crap, I don't believe you, Mike." It was written in Dead Man's Land.
Oh, like during the Great War.
He was in the middle of Dead Man's Land with shrapnel flying around his face and bullets whizzing by his head. He was sitting there writing. And it was the general, I forgot the German general that was working that battalion at the time in one of the
battles.
Not the battles.
Big battles, probably.
The trenches.
Okay.
So everybody was in their trench, and he was in the middle of, like, not in the middle, but like 100 yards away from the German trench in Dead Man's Land, and he was writing. And then one of the witnesses that was there, he actually lived until the late 70s, said he saw him writing. And then the general, not the general, I think it wasn't the general, but it was, below the general, way below, said, sergeant, or said, who is that? They're like, it's this guy. Okay, what's he doing? Sir, he goes up and there's like bullets flying everywhere. He's writing. And then the general goes back and says, what? He's writing, sir. He's writing something. So I guess something was in his mind that he had to stop where he was and made sure that he actually wrote this.
Right. Something came to him in the middle of combat, and he had to write it down so he wouldn't forget it later.
But then he wrote this. He wrote 85% of this in 6.5 hours.
Wow. Well, obviously he'd been studying a lot of other things too, and it something unpacked for him. Traumatic experiences do that too, And I'm trying to forget the guy's name. Terence McKenna. Like, this was a guy who used. It's ironic because I was talking about something similar with Solid Exter in the comments there, but Terence McKenna was big on psychedelics. to open up consciousness as well. So that's not really suffering as in that case as much as it is becoming disentangled from your thoughts and your immediate impressions and probably emotions, and just experiencing the subconscious. Most of it, I think, is just exploring your own subconscious. I think suffering, trauma, things like that, has created a lot of the philosophy and a lot of encouragement. It's created a lot of beauty. I mean, think of Michelangelo when he created that statue of David out of a single block of marble.
That was phenomenal.
That's phenomenal.
Can I
and
tell you
I
the
mean,
story about that?
Cellini, sure.
Guys, there's an interesting story behind this whole Michelangelo thing when he was going to make that statue. Did you know, a lot of people don't know this. You know that he didn't go in there and start chopping away. You know that, right? He did not.
Yeah, I don't exactly know how.
He would sit there and he would stare at that piece of marble every day for 8 hours. And he never did anything for about a couple of months. Until I think whoever commissioned him to do it said, "When are you going to start?" They're like, "I already did. I'm almost done." They're like, "Well, you haven't done anything." He's like, "No, every day I come in and I peel away at it in my mind until I get it to where it's got to go, and I'm going to follow that routine until it's done." So he would sit there and watch that block of stone every day for like 3 months, for 8 hours a day, until he was done thinking, and then he started chopping away and knew every move he was going to make and where every cut was going to be, and he carved it out one time.
Yeah, that's I'm pretty sure that's how it works. I'm sure that how it works for a lot of pictures too. You know, of like famous paintings, things like that.
Well, a painting I could see, but carving out a statue and finding out what you're going to hit next, what you're going to hit, and for months on end, just sitting there and studying that and peeling it apart in your mind, layer by layer, and not missing a single, you know what I'm saying? That's then we're looking at God now.
Oh, you're absolutely looking at capabilities that are just beyond the average person's ability to comprehend. No doubt about it. That's an incredible talent. I think basically, if I recall, and I think the quotation was attributed to Michelangelo. It might have been Da Vinci, but it was someone quite famous anyway that said, "Well, I look at a piece of marble, and I remove, I look at the sculpture I want to make, and then I remove all the rock that isn't that sculpture."
Right.
So that's basically it. Yeah, he was forming a three-dimensional picture in his mind, what the statue would look like, what he could produce. I mean, he was probably looking at imperfections in the marble as well, something that was going to have to be removed. Obviously, he couldn't put something solid there. And, and he probably had to negotiate with his own desires what he wanted to make compared to what he would be able to make out of the rock that he had. And, yeah, he'd spent all that time basically programming his own subconscious, what he was making and what it would look like. And then, yeah, after that, once it was downloaded, if you will, pick up the hammer, pick up the chisel, and remove all the rock that isn't that thing. So it kind of even harkens back to what Wittgenstein was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, it's not a talent I have, that's for sure.
Okay, now let's go back to this picture, okay?
Okay.
This is okay. It gets pretty deep when you start talking about a picture. You never thought we'd have talking about a picture on Mike in the Night, and it gets this deep. Here goes. A fact must have something in common with what it depicts in order to be a picture.
Yeah. Okay.
Hold on. In a picture and the depicted, there must be something identical so that one can be a picture of the other at all.
Right. So so I want to just harken back for a second. Now, I think when he's talking about a picture, he's probably talking about a painting or a photograph or something, right? Or a daguerreotype, whatever they had then. They had all kinds of things by then. If you were talking about an artist's conception, right, or the cover of Heavy Metal magazine or something like that, you're dealing with certain things that are they're going to be identifiable to the human mind, at least one fairly versed in science fiction anyway. But you're not actually depicting reality. You've got cues from it that you can identify with, like robots talking to humans, or spaceships, blowing up planets or things like that. Think of Star Wars, right? And the Death Star. Well, you're depicting something that's not real, but you're using themes and images that human beings can't get their heads around, right? Space, flying objects, lasers, war and destruction and the consequences of it. Those are all things that by the time we're 10 or 12 years old, we can certainly relate to. Yeah, so I'm assuming that's what he's talking about in this case, is a picture of something that is, a physical picture of an actual something on Earth.
So now it goes on to say what a picture must have in common with reality in order to be able to be a picture. It, in its way, rightly or falsely, is its form of representation.
Okay.
Then
Okay.
Then it goes on to say a picture can picture every reality whose form it has. And then we get into spiritually. A spiritual picture can represent everything. Spatial. What does spatial mean?
Spatial picture,
Spatial,
like a three-dimensional, or
spatial
that's fine.
picture. Sorry, I'm sorry. Can represent everything spatial. A color, one everything colored, etc.
Okay, yeah, a spatial picture. So if you paint a landscape, you can represent, the mountain, even though it's only two-dimensional, it's a flat image. It represents a three-dimensional reality that you see the sky, which could be 5,000 miles behind the mountain, and you see the trees up front, which are probably could be 5 miles from the mountain in front of the painter, right, or the photographer in a case like that.
Is this picture discussion driving you crazy yet?
No, I don't mind it, actually. It's
okay.
It's making me concentrate for sure. So okay. I don't mind that a bit.
And my horrible reading makes it worse. But okay, here goes. But a picture cannot picture its form of representation. It exhibits it.
Okay.
Then it says a picture represents its subject from the outside. It's a standpoint is its form of presentation, which is why pictures present their subjects rightly or falsely. But a picture cannot place itself outside its form of representation.
Okay.
So basically what he does is he takes a picture and he actually makes you really think of things outside. And using a picture, I think, is actually brilliant, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, it's how it works in most people's minds, I think. You form a picture of reality in your mind, or you form a picture in your mind of when someone describes a process to you, whether it's government, whether it's something biological, whether it's something, in our case, we talk about things monetary, right, which has a lot to do with,
exactly.
Human interaction, things like that. Yeah, no, I see forces in a case like that as much as I see people just walking around doing things, right? It's like traffic. There's a whole school of study of traffic, right? Because you think, okay, well, I don't get it. We've got 16 lanes going each way. We've got plenty of places for all these vehicles to get to where they need to go as fast as possible. And yet, the LA freeway is like a parking lot every day and every night. and they can't understand why, because there aren't even any accidents on the road, but there's these waves in traffic where someone going a little bit slower or suddenly tapping their brakes creates a chain reaction, 10 vehicles behind them, and all of a sudden you have these compressions and expansions of traffic, even though there's literally no obstacle in anybody's way.
That's
and
right.
If some of them get bad enough, yeah, you'll actually have to stop your car. You'll have to come to a complete halt and wait for 20 minutes, and that's why they call it stop-and-go traffic. It's not just in town where you have traffic lights regulating everything. Crowded freeways, you have the same effect. And it's really weird, but that's the thing. You're an individual sitting in your car, and oh, geez, traffic is terrible. But if you take that three-dimensional or that 30,000-foot view of the situation, you begin to understand,
Yes.
human nature and human dynamics. Interacting with each other, even though they don't talk to each other, not even looking at each other, they're just sitting in their steel boxes going to and fro about their day, right?
Exactly.
And that's something that you have to get your head around if you're going to try to understand reality. What's really going on.
All right, let's
And
close this off.
I don't claim to be an expert.
One more passage. Ready? In order
Okay.
to know whether a picture is true or false, we must compare it with reality.
Okay, yes.
So, guys, that's the Tractatus Logico Philosophicus. We got very philosophical with a photograph.
Yeah.
But no,
the second
do
line.
you see why I brought it up now, Supreme?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the second line just after that, Mike, it said you, in order to know if the picture is true or not, it must be compared to reality, and that's what most research is. You get a picture in your mind, or something, you form a theory. Someone has an image of their mind of how physical forces or human beings or whatever interact, right? And then they have to compare that. They have to get the data. They have to compare it to the actual reality that they're. They have to form a thesis and then somehow test it. The problem that we have is that as our knowledge has expanded, the number of questions has expanded exponentially, and there's just too many question marks hanging out there like stars in the Milky Way. And you can only proclaim so many things as truth that without admitting that you don't really know, until even the layman eventually starts to say, well, you said this, but I keep seeing this happen.
Yeah.
And you can only tell those people to just shut up and mind their business so many times. You know what I mean? That's how I see it anyway.
So, and the reason why, someone commented here, you're losing your audience, LOL. Well, no, here's the deal. Everybody keeps asking these questions. Everyone's trying to figure out things, trying to understand why the banks are doing what, why the economy is doing this, why are people being dentured to serfdom. Well, if you could read something like that and take something as an example of a picture and start seeing the different angles of what you thought you perceived or what you thought you knew, then you start to actually start opening your mind to what the banking system is about, and still saying, oh, yeah, no, they're a bunch of crooks and they're ripping people off. No, there's many angles to it, just like that damn picture.
Yes, not all bankers are evil,
No, but
some
you
of
know
them
what
are
I mean,
actually.
right, Supreme?
You know what I mean?
I'm talking about
but
when you get
we're
more.
always sure.
Huh?
Sure, but when we talk about banking, I mean we're in a mindset, and we're in a our regular course discussion. We assume that these people are all evil thieves trying to steal our lives from us, right? And that's the filter that we view it through, and that's not real either, not completely. That's all I was saying. I was just expanding on that.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is there's so much more. There's so much more to see on the underlying thoughts that I wish people could really watch this show, like when they see this show or people watching this on replay, could try to understand why I needed to bring this up, because no matter what, our points of views, whatever we think, something, sometime, somehow is going to give somewhere. So I just don't want people to lose hope. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's right. It can't continue. The idea that people are willing to tolerate stuff, what people will tolerate, shocks me. As I've said many times, I've seen those cop shows from the 60s and 70s, like Streets of San Francisco, right, and LA and Miami Vice and shows like that, and you see the traffic and the smog and just the utter hustle and bustle that people spend entire lifetimes in for generations, and you think, like, we're not migratory birds, people. We don't actually have to live like this. But people do it for decades, and it shocks me. It really does. But it has reached a point where a lot of people are hitting the breaking point and really starting to think, is this all there is? Well, I don't necessarily think that the treadmill was designed for us. I think it emerged spontaneously for a lot of people.
Well, a lot of people are caught in the grip in these cities. They're caught in this grip, and they believe that's the only way to succeed.
Yeah, it's the only life they've known, and they think that my whole family lives here. I grew up here. I belong to the city, like that old Glenn Fry song, right? And the thing is that they don't know anything else, and they can't envision anything else. Well, I guess I'll have to find some other city if I can't live in this one.
All right, I'll find you a city.
Like,
people watching.
Yeah.
People watching. Let me find you a city. Let's go to Google Maps. Let's find you a place to live.
Yeah. There you go.
Hey, you know what? I spoke to that nurse that moved to Ocala, Florida.
Uh-huh.
That nurse that came to see me that was on her way to Kamloops, she watched one of my shows and saw a city that I talked about, and she applied as a nurse and got the job. She bought
that's
her,
awesome.
she bought her house like a few months now, and now she's actually looking. She was telling me here, just outside of Naples, she's looking at buying another home to rent out Airbnb for tourists.
Oh wow, there you go. She's climbing the property ladder
Yep.
already.
Yep. She says like
Of course.
$133,000 for the property.
Man, oh man.
Yeah. Okay. So let's look at somewhere to go. Cha 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 cha. Let's find somewhere to go. Ooh, what's this? I've never been here. It's just north of Jacksonville. Ferdinand Beach. Ferdinandia Beach. All right, guys, we're moving today to Ferdinandia Beach in Florida. Wow. You dropped the little guy there, and then boom, you're in sun tropic. Wow! Look at that ocean. Look at the palm trees. What?
Look at that street grid.
What?
Someone had the idea already, obviously.
Yeah. Okay, we got to zoom out of this one because it looked like we dropped ourselves in like a public park or something.
It looks like a railroad there.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go down here. Let's find this. I don't know where this place. I've never been here. It's by Amelia Lighthouse Island. All right, let's drop it off here. Oh, people living on stilts. You know you're living by water.
Oh boy.
Well, there's the Dukester brothers right there, with no shirts on, barefoot. Oh wow, Ocean Drive. See, pick up a place here for 80 grand. And
yeah.
So what?
Well,
here, okay, let's get something straight here, okay, Supreme. Let's get something straight. So when people are like, "Oh, what about a job? What are you gonna do?" So you're telling me, I don't know, the million people in this proximate area don't have work?
Oh, excuse me. Well, if you can cash out your equity in Canada, if you live in Vancouver and you're looking for somewhere to go, or you're a paramedic living on the island, and you can't afford to buy in, and you can afford to buy in Nanaimo, but you can't afford to buy in Vancouver, I'm pretty sure you could find a job as a paramedic in, Naples, Florida, and pay cash for your place.
Yeah.
And if you don't have transferable skills, you know what? Yeah, you might not be able to live there per se. But I know even in my line of work, I've worked in mining, I've worked in sawmilling, I've worked in logging. I know there's plenty of that going on down there. Mm-hmm. Right? Like I could find something to do. Mm-hmm. Just people they don't actually understand what skills they have. I mean, I've had 6 or 7 careers. I'm not real pleased with it. That's not the life course I wanted to have. It seems to be pretty prominent among Gen Xers these days. It's something you've experienced yourself, Mike. Mm-hmm. But it can be done, and sometimes you have to do it. But, and that was kind of scary, but I had a family to look after. So it was like, okay, well, that made the decision for me in a lot of cases. You got that bayonet in your back, march or die, right? Mm-hmm. The scary thing is when you go and do something like that just on your own cognizance because, screw this, I want something different out of life. Night, Tig. God bless.
Yeah, Tig Nim is going away. He said he's got to go to sleep.
Yeah, I'm not sure where she lives, but it's late, I'm sure.
Yeah, so, like, man, we could buy this abandoned warehouse here and start producing stuff right by the beach.
Yeah, totally. Put in Bitcoin mining equipment there.
Yeah.
We'll get low roller scratcher set up there.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many places like little towns like this you could live in, and you could live a decent life. You don't have to worry about so many things, Mm-hmm. But the big
trick, of course, is Canadian is getting the right to move down there and buy property.
Oh, right? My kids are going to be transferable. My kids will have transferable trades, so they could just go there if they have to.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, make sure they have portable skills.
Yeah,
they go work anywhere in the world.
I'll make sure they're 100%. If my daughter wants to be a registered nurse or something, I'll make sure I pay for it so she doesn't go into debt. And then, Daytona Beach. Nice.
The big thing is, the irony is, if you have portable skills, you can be a nomad if you need to be, mm-hmm. but it's also less likely that you will be. That's the paradox, because then if you can choose where you work, then the likelihood is that you're going to be in demand in a wide range from wherever you choose to live. So you'll be able to move somewhere nice, somewhere like Naples, Florida, something like that. And if you can't work at one place, well, you can work at another. There's just so much less to worry about. You could go, live in Portugal. You could go live in the Philippines. Your kids will be able to live all over the world.
Yep. My kids
That's
will have
nice.
my kids are going to have dual citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
And they could live in Europe. They could do whatever they want. They won't be stuck.
Yeah, they probably should. They probably should try it. Yeah, that's true. Layla was expanding on something Gary said. Sometimes change is more difficult than the status quo for some. There's no question. If I hadn't been married, if I didn't have kids, if I didn't have, even I would say if I hadn't been divorced, right? There were a lot of things that you've seen it yourself being a father, Mike, that there's times that you have no choice. You have to pull a rabbit out of the hat.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make something happen, and you're not even sure how you're going to do it, but you've got problems to solve. It's an enormous challenge. And I can't say that I regret any of it. It taught me so much, and it taught me a lot of things that weren't true too. So that's the thing. It's this is not that. Going back to Wittgenstein again.
Yeah, exactly. Well, these are really nice condo towers here, and they're not expensive. I was looking at some of these towers the other day with my mom. And you could live in one of these nice towers with a strata fee of like $190 a month, and you have like everything taken care of, it, security and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's amazing. And as you're going down some of these streets, it looks like there's still a lot of bare land around.
There is, yeah. Florida. One thing you'll notice when you're in Florida, there's a lot of water everywhere, and I'm not talking about ocean. I mean, like if you zoom out of this map, right? There's if you look here, look, all water. Like fresh water all over. Look, all water. Water everywhere. Look at these big lakes. Look, lakes. There's just water everywhere. Look at this.
Oh, that
lake.
map there,
Lake
yeah.
Okeechobee.
Enormous lakes, rivers, creeks, and it's I'm sure it's fairly flat, so they're probably fairly wide and slow moving. Mm-hmm. So it would be nice most of the time to get a place on one of them. It would be nice. Elizabeth asked if you could check out Jackson Point in Florida. No idea where that is. Yeah.
Is that in the Everglades?
I don't know.
Let's check. Jackson Point. Oh, there's Jackson Point. That's in Georgia. No. Tampa, Florida. Jackson Rose Jets. There's no Jackson Point, Elizabeth. There's streets, Jackson Street, but there's no Jackson Point in Florida. Never heard of it.
Probably a neighborhood.
Yeah, probably. If you guys want to see, I spent a lot of time on the Florida Keys. My favorite island in the Florida Keys was Isla Marada. I'll show you guys what it looks like. I love this island. This little road here goes all the way to Key West, and it takes you all the way. But this island is so small, and if you blink, you miss it. It's like one little strip of road, and then it continues back on the highway. It's a little island in the middle. And I used to stop in here for the sake of being here to say I went to the Burger King in Isla Marada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like a long road that goes down to Key West.
There is. It's a long road. I've done the drive many times. Yeah. I even like spend weekends taking girlfriends down to Key West, like when we were in Miami. Say, hey, what are you doing this weekend? I don't know, nothing. Why? Let's go to Key West. Really? Yeah, let's drive down. Why not?
Isn't that the location of that scene in remember that old Schwarzenegger movie, True Lies?
Yes, it was over here on the Overseas Highway, and it was filmed right here. It was filmed right after Long Key. It was filmed between Long Key and the Dolphin Research Center. There's a long strip right here. If you could see it right now. That long strip right there is where they filmed that section.
Yeah, just a long bridge, like that one that goes across Lake Pontchartrain.
That's right. I know where that, because somebody told me. There's Torch Key, Big Pine Key, Summerlin Key, Upper Sugarloaf Key. I've been to all these places. Well, you have to get to these places till you get here to Roosevelt Drive. Till you get to Roosevelt Drive. Where are you? Roosevelt. Here we go. Roosevelt Boulevard. Here it is. And I used to spend a lot of time on the street, hanging out, just renting scooters, driving around, you know?
Sure. Oh, that's amazing how developed it is. Yeah. Well, Florida. I mean, Florida itself is enormous. You know, we just think of it as one U.S. state. It's an enormous place.
Oh, it's huge. Lots of fresh water. I don't know. It's supposed to be underwater by now, but I'm not sure what's happening.
Yeah. Well, it must be. Maybe it floats.
Yeah,
It's
maybe
probably
Florida
floating,
floats.
Yeah. It's just there's a bunch of mangrove roots underneath it, and it's just sitting on the mangrove roots and bobbing up and down. People don't notice it. That's all.
Mm-hmm. They got a very nice historic district. You should see the. Let me see if I can find a cemetery here. You're gonna freak out how people get buried. It's weird. They get buried in these tombs above ground. I think there's a cemetery right up the street here. Hold on. I think there's a cemetery up here, and then further down to the left, it's up here. Watch. Let's see if I can get there. I've been on all these streets. I actually know where this is. Oops. There it is. There's a cemetery. I know exactly where this is. Like, I've been there many times.
Okay.
Do you see that, Supreme? Wow. How they're buried above ground?
Well, they'd have to be. Yeah, the water table's probably 3 feet down. Well, let's put it this way: you couldn't dig 6 feet down.
Yeah, there it is. There's the cemetery. It's freaky. I used to drive by this because I used to take different routes around the island. I spent like a couple of months there.
Okay.
Yeah, and there it is. It's all these like above ground things. No one's in the ground. And
no, they couldn't be.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And I was
There'd
like,
yeah. There are a lot of earthquakes there?
No.
I wouldn't think there would be.
No, that's California.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think there's a fault line, to be honest with you. I think there's a fault line everywhere, but I don't think it's active or it's in a zone of pain is what I'm,
Right. Well, they can surprise you. Obviously, the problem there is hurricanes and things like that. But apparently even in Oklahoma, where there's no fault lines, there's been earthquakes there too. So they can surprise you, I guess. But that could happen anywhere in the world. That's not the issue. Yeah, other than the storm surges from hurricanes and things like that, it's obviously the way the houses are built there. It doesn't happen that often.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you any idea how far above sea level, like the street is, for example?
A couple of meters, not majorly above sea level, because when it floods here, it floods about a half a foot.
Oh, okay.
Because when Hurricane Wilma came through, no, it wasn't. Yeah, it was Hurricane Wilma went through Broward County, but it went through the Keys a bit. When it went through Key West, they had about 7-8 inches of water, and I was in Fort Lauderdale when that hit. And,
okay.
And that's the day we lost power for like, I don't know, for like 2 weeks.
Oh boy, at least you weren't freezing.
No, that's the thing, right? I was always at the pool.
Yeah, must be a lot of one-way streets there. The streets look like the grid was laid out in the 18th century. They're so narrow.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of like little churches. A lot of I know where I am here. I actually know where I am on this map. And then if you go that way, you hit the military base there. So you got to stay out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know this
wow,
really well.
That's neat.
Just bringing back some memories, good memories,
I wonder if part of the reason for the low prices is crowding. Maybe it's just, if the prices are that low, maybe, I mean, obviously the amount of building that happens there and the number of people there. But maybe, I don't know, maybe they just find the congestion so bad that there's just other places that people would prefer to live.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It
looks kind of crowded. I don't know.
You got to remember it's an island, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was going to say, the streets have almost like a Caribbean or even a Mexican feel to them because they're so narrow, right?
Mm-hmm. Let me see where else. There little hidden gems places to. There's a naval. There up here is the naval air station, and then down here there's something else down here, on the corner here. This part is closed off. There's an area here that's closed off. That's military, or when I was there, it was government owned. that you couldn't go to. Or
Okay.
it was like a restricted area, right? Raccoon Key is not bad. It's a little island just before you hit Key West. It's called Raccoon Key, and it's shaped like a raccoon.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me see if I could get here on Splataway here. No, it's not letting me drop here.
That must be a marina of some kind.
Yep. These are houses on the intercoastal here, actually. So these homes are here, and then in the backyards, there's water on every street, and that's where you park your boat.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, there's like I'm gonna see if I can find a street where you can see the intercoastal. So there's like inside the coast. So I'm back on the main highway here. Let me see. So when you take this highway, you pass by all these little towns, which is really cool. And I spent a lot of time here, so I know this. Yeah, they're not showing you the intercoastals because it's people's backyards, right? They won't show you that.
No, there's no need.
Well, there is a way now. If we go on Google Earth to see the actual show imagery. Yeah, let's show some imagery here. Woo, lots of photos. Okay, so this is here. So it's showing photos. There's a kid on his phone on the beach. Oh, so people upload photos to Google, and it shows that area.
Oh, okay.
That's nice. Let me see where this is. That's over there. Okay, that's the center. I don't care about that. Ah, here we go. Satellite. There it is. You see that, Supreme? It's going to show up in 3 seconds there. So everybody's backyard has water.
Beautiful.
So you park your boat there. Everyone parks their boats and then goes home. And there's a lot of restaurants in here. Like, there's a lot of places here you could take your boat to. And you could do grocery shopping by boat. Oh, I'm not kidding. Beautiful. I've seen it all. I went to a bar that you had to take a boat to. There was no road going to it.
Yeah, good deal.
Yeah.
Oh, a different kind of life. And that's what you go there for.
Exactly.
You go there for a completely different kind of life, for sure.
And that's why I want to share this with everybody and talk about this stuff once in a while, you know? Just let people know there's an entire planet out there for them to explore.
That's the big thing. You know, the thing about Canada is it's such an enormous place, but with just a couple of 3 big cities, and, you know, it's like where Canada's falling apart and there's no jobs and there's, you know, you can't afford to live anywhere. And no, that's not true. It's not entirely true. Yes, if you want to live in certain areas, yeah, it's tough. But usually it's a matter of, okay, you got to go somewhere else. You can make your you can find a place in this world. I've found several. Like just in British Columbia. British Columbia is so enormous you'd never see it all in a lifetime. Mm-hmm. Right? You know, most of the really built up areas in British Columbia are in the southern third of the province. I was born in Terrace, which is considered northern BC. It's only halfway up the province. You know, it's just an enormous place. Canada is huge, and it's small population, but they're scattered everywhere. There's neat little towns all over the place. It's got a lot of character, and there's a lot of things going on. But yeah, it ebbs and flows with the economy and with you know, the money and all of those things has the effect here that it has everywhere else in the world. We're not immune to anything that happens in the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. You know, we were basically, if you were comparing people's lives 60 years ago, 70 years ago to how they are now, this would be considered a third world country, mm-hmm. Right? Like it's just people's expectations since World War II have just skyrocketed. And it's just getting to the point where it's a life that, you know, it's not something that everyone is going to have, and it's not something that everyone can aspire to. And I think a lot of people that have had what you would consider to be great material success in life have discovered the same thing, that it's not what they aspired to. They aspired to something that turned out to be an illusion. In a case like that, it's like there's a picture in your mind, and it's a nice picture, going back to Wittgenstein again, but compare it to reality, mm-hmm. Maybe it's not so great.
Right.
You know, there are probably people that envy you, Mike. They have a picture of your life and think, oh man, you got it made, but you're living it. And you know that there's struggle too.
There is. That's right.
Yeah.
And that's why I brought up, you know, we lost half our audience tonight, but people need to understand, if you want the answers, sometimes you got to look at the picture from a different angle.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm
it's
grateful
a three-dimensional
that people
picture.
that stuck around, that actually listen to all that understand why I brought this up, right?
Yeah. Seasons in the sun isn't just a matter of going to Florida, Mike. It's a question of, it's like that old saying, every dog has its day.
Right.
If you haven't had your day yet, keep at it.
That's right.
Don't give up.
That's right. But yeah, next week's show, let's do something impactful. Maybe we talk about, you know what? Let's talk about it through the week. Let me know what you want to do on Mike of the Night. Let's have a kind of less biblical, less philosophical, more. We're too far from the elections in the States. Maybe we'll talk about Mercon and France, what's happening with the Yellow Vests. It's already been a year now.
Yes, it's been going on for a year or more, yeah. And it's happening in cities all over France, too, not even just Paris. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, the background to the Yellow Vests, a lot of it has to do with pension reforms. But I'll be honest, I think that it was going to happen regardless. I mean, they're doing what they have to do to try to keep their nation, their nation state relatively solvent.
Right.
And that means that they're probably the first that are going to have to face the reality that they can't keep the promises that earlier leaders made.
Right.
Right. So that's part of it.
To the rolling of the heads.
Oh, definitely. Yes, it does. Yeah. Yeah.
Let the head roll, get the guillotine sharpened. That's probably,
yeah.
If it goes back to those times, then they'll flourish, expand, grow, find what you call it, an answer to their problem. But no, they want to keep this problem going, right? So Alden Hall is saying, yes, Yellow Vest coverage. Yeah, we'll cover the Yellow Vest. It's been a year now, and we're going to cover the Hong Kong is still going on.
Yes, by all means.
And we'll cover Chile. We'll cover Chile is like that too. And so there's a bit of uprising right now in Colombia and Uruguay too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Uruguay's got problems too. Uruguay, yeah.
We'll talk about some of that stuff on Mike in the Night. Guys, we need people to call in. We got Alden Hall here in the comments. Ryan Holden. John, Brexit is January 31st. Maybe we should touch on that too. John 23Z, you need to come on the show. We need people to come on the show. Everyone that's in here, please call in at least once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd encourage you guys. Mike's a great host. He asks great questions. Feel free to come on. Expect to free associate, okay? Because whatever the subject is usually a hub that has a lot of spokes radiating off it. So the conversation could take some interesting and sometimes esoteric directions. It's always a hoot, Mike. I enjoy it so much, and I hope somebody else is getting something out of it too.
When you get some time, it's a PDF, the Tractatus Logico Philosophicus. Just don't read what people think of it. Just go right to the actual what he wrote when he was in Dead Man's Land.
Okay.
Read it. It's not that long.
I'll do that.
You can read it in 3 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I will.
Dylan's saying everybody should call in and share their knowledge. Please. Yeah, I don't know everything. Neither does Supreme, and neither does The Raven. Neither does, Walking Journey or all the people we get on the show. We don't know everything. That's why we're here.
Yeah, we're all looking at the picture from different angles, and boy, we need all the angles we can. You probably have an answer to some question that we don't have the answer to.
That's right.
And it seems like every question you answer, I mean, it seems to answer a dozen others as well. So we're trying to piece a puzzle here, guys. We're trying to form a picture of reality so we can deal with it in an intelligent manner. We're brainstorming here, so please don't be shy.
Yeah, please don't. Please.
Thank you, Jordan. No, I assure you I don't.
Yeah. Stop lying, Supreme. You know everything. That's right, he does. That's why, he's basically the last guy on the show to close it off.
I'm the guy that gets
the last word.
To close the curtains. Yeah, well, I appreciate that. It's always fun, and I enjoyed. You had Jordan on for a little while, and Layla. Glad she's participating. She's got a lot to say. We need more perspectives, guys. Please don't be shy to get Skype.
Yeah, Layla's story is really good. Her story is really good. She's got some really good knowledge on things, you know?
Definitely, and there again, that's in many cases, it's like you, Mike. She's got an international perspective. You know, imagine going on holiday to Syria and Lebanon. That sounds very intimidating most to us, but to someone they would consider that, you know, a home or a home. You know, they're quite familiar with it. You know, they've got a literally different view on everything from people living in, say, Western Canada.
Well, it's like people are saying, Mike, why do you keep talking about Florida? Because I live there. I can tell you about it.
Yeah.
You know, oh, why do you talk about Portugal? Because I'm from there. I could tell you everything you need to know, right? But there's only so much I could cover, right? Because there's only so much life experience I have, right?
Definitely. We have people here on this channel from literally calling it from all over the world, giving us perspectives literally in real time from all kinds of different places on the globe. That is so cool, people. You know, please don't be bashful.
We need to share it out there. We need to share this, guys. You know, just share the Mike and the Knights so people know that it's a regular thing.
Yeah, it's a train. You know, there's a train. There's a new train leaving the station once a week, and it's an opportunity to come on for 2-3 hours and let's brainstorm. Let's brainstorm this reality thing, guys. Let's get our heads around it. Let's see what this little hive mind can come up with. That's the fun part for me.
All right. Well, Supreme, thanks so much for your knowledge and wisdom, and we will talk to you next week.
Always a pleasure. God bless everyone.
Yes,
and
God
talk
bless
soon.
you, Supreme.
Okay, bye-bye.
That is Supreme Cannon. We do Mike in the Night every week. We've been doing Mike in the Night. I don't know. You guys are bored? You want to hear more Supreme Cannon? Well, go here. Go to the channel. Listen to some past episodes we did. Mike in the Night. You could go to right here. Go to the page. Scroll right down. Mike in the Night, the new generation, right here. Mike in the Night. Everything. Food shortage. 2020 predictions. World unrest. Christmas special. Australia burns. Iran and U.S. tensions. We did. Just go here. Watch. They just go back. It just goes back. This one was a good one. Big Brother Australia.
Coming.
Because look at this one. Look at people getting scanned.
Layoffs.
That's coming to Australia.
Right,
That's right now the 5G in China that they have. And everybody has a score above their head. This guy's 387. This guy's 682. This guy is flashing red. Wow.
And now I see Bud Light.
And that's Supreme Cannon talking right there. So, guys, if you can, get onto some of these shows. And here, you want to watch here? I'll give you the link to this one. Watch this one. This is Big Brother's watching you. This is a serious one. Here you go in the comments. Boom. Watch that one. I'm always here for you guys. Hey, you know what, guys? Don't forget, buy a t-shirt. Mike on the Night. And Mike in the Night. And guys, you know what? If you've been a guest on the show, you can get I was a guest on Mike in the Night mug. There's all kinds of cool stuff. To help support the transmission. Here it is, Teespring, all kinds of cool stuff. You can find the links on top of my channel. Click the join button and join if you can. Supreme Cannon joined. Tig Nim joined. Who else joined? A lot of people joined, actually. There's quite a few people that joined, but they're not here tonight. I think I have 19 people that joined. Join the crew. Support the cause. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Guys, I'm going to sleep. What time is it, man? It's like 11:51. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning out east, and people are still on the show at 3 o'clock in the morning. Wow, that's awesome. Red Pill Gary says, great show. Good night, everybody. Peace out, everybody. Bye, Ryan. Bye, Red Pill Gary. Layla, thanks so much, Mike. Good night, all. Alden Hall, Russia Insight is an excellent channel. Much truthness. Yeah, we'll check it out. We'll probably get someone on from there to come on here. I don't know how big they are, but they're probably too big. And then we got 5318-008. Yep, I'm up late. Yeah, man, call into the show, man. Dylan says another great show. Mike Canucks won again, says John 23Z. And we got Jordan Retro. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being part of this gang or part of the crew or being part of what makes this thing exist. Because without you guys, remember what we talked about earlier in that really big thing we were talking about when we're going philosophical there for a little while, where we lost half our audience. Well, you know what? You need to get into that before you start understanding, if you want to go deeper in thought. In my opinion, that's just me. What do I know? And it's called, if you want to read it, it's called the Tractatus Logico Philosophicus. It's PDF. Just get to the story, get to what he's trying to say, and find a little history about this guy. It's actually he's a genius, basically. Let me know, comment below. Lots of love. Thanks for watching. Share this transmission, get it out there. Let's get more people on Mike in the Night to share their knowledge. Thanks for watching.